everybody, welcome back to PSGL. George Morgan here and Jack Cannan. All the lights are currently lit here on track, and it is go, go, go!
Contact through the Mercedes teammate!
Denoso with a crafty manoeuvre up the inside. Masterclass from the Chilean.
Crucial championship points on offer here.
Do not count out Danny Beresne.
Longe has done the job. This is for the win between these two.
Freddie Rasmussen wins the United States Grand Prix.
Alfie Butcher wins for the first time ever. Lucas Blakely takes the championship. It's Barry Boyman.
Jarno Opmeer is your champion. Well, good evening, everybody. Welcome back to PSGL. We have returned here tonight for our penultimate round of the championship, where the title could be signed, sealed, and yet delivered. Currently in the hot seat, it's Jarno Opmeer, and he's got quite the points gap, quite the gulf in front of him. And we head back to one of the circuits that has really lit up the calendar in the past where it comes to league racing, and PSGL is, of course, no different. George Morgan here, your commentator, alongside me, TK, who is going to be rounding off the season with me once and for all, obviously bringing an end to this campaign here on F124. Could be the last and only time on F124 that we actually race in PCF1 in the top split. But yeah, incredible. TK, welcome back. Great to have you here. It's been a while. The first time we came together last time was Bahrain at the start of the season.
It certainly was, of course, if you look back 9 rounds ago. My first opportunity here in PCF1, and fortunately not my last as well. As you said, I'm rounding out the season, stepping in for the irreplaceable Jack Cannan. But I'm so looking forward to seeing how the season rounds out.
Yeah, really excited. Obviously, big hello as well to you guys at home, wherever you are across the globe. You're going to be witnessing, I think, something truly special. But first and foremost, I think we've got to dive in as to what happened last time, because there's been all sorts really happening throughout the course of the championship so far. We'll take a look at tonight's lineup as well, because it's a fascinating one. We've got such a high level, such a high plethora of strong drivers, obviously representing their teams. Starting off, of course, with Joni Tormler, Josh Ido, obviously, representing an Alpine here once more, with Alfie Butcher since marking his first appearance at McLaren with a victory last time at Texas, alongside Lucas Blakely tonight. Otis Lawrence and Duncan Hoffland at Aston Martin. Jake Benham and Danny Beresne at Mercedes. Barry Burremand and Nicholas Longe at Ferrari. Jarno Opmeer, Freddie Rasmussen at Red Bull. Tamas Gal and Shinaka Clay at Haas, with Tom Manley, Declan Barrett at Visa Cash App RB. Of course, we'll just call him RB. Thomas Ronhart, Brendan Lee at Kick. Alvaro Caraton and Ishmael Fassi at Williams. And of course, this all leads to tonight, folks, of course, to this evening's festivities with this current driver standing. We have got Jarno Opmeer on 89 points, and he currently sits 28 clear of Danny Beresne in second place. So it could yet be the case that it's only a podium that's essentially required here tonight. Manley in third place as well, 56 just behind. So these are, of course, the current top three. Of course, Manley losing out on his chance to claim the title. You'd fathom, obviously, mathematically out of the equation. Danny Beresne is the only one really standing, but Jarno on the precipice of successfully managing to cultivate a phenomenal 7th PSGL crown, and it will be his 6th PC F1 title as well. I mean, what a record as well, TK.
Absolutely incredible. And not to only do it on one platform, but to do it on both PC and PlayStation as well. And that is the sign not only of consistency, but of course, he's got to have some luck in his favour, especially for tonight. A podium is certainly in the offing. It
certainly is. Last time, whilst of course he did not take race victory, he was outside the points, in fact, finishing 13th at Texas. Obviously, it was quite a contentious battle. We'll take a look as well at the team standings. Of course, Red Bull currently dominating that for 114 points ahead, and they are clear of Kick right now, who are on 88. So no surprises there. Obviously, Mercedes currently in the midst of a fight with V-Carb, as well as McLaren further down, who are level with V-Carb on points. And we have Ferrari on 59, just 9 clear of Aston Martin, who are in turn 6 clear of Williams in 8th place. Alpine in 9th. In the the second from bottom, with Haas at the very bottom of the championship as well, with only 18 points. Let's take a look at our last race result. Of course, alluding to Alfie Butcher's first win, his first appearance in PSGL and league racing as well on F1 24 since signing with McLaren. What a signing for McLaren, no doubt to replace Otis Lawrence, TK.
Almost certainly, and there's been quite a few signings in the course of this season, most notably, obviously, Jarno going to Red Bull, but some of the other transfers that have been going around as well are certainly notable when we look forward to the F1 esports season.
Yeah, so there you have it, folks. Obviously, it was a good race for Thomas Ronhaar, who's had a bit of a blip in his form in recent times. That, incidentally, was his first and only podium so far this season. Absolutely outrageous when you consider that he achieved a pole position back at Japan. Blakely making it a double podium for the McLaren outfit. Obviously, with Butcher being his new teammate, they seem to be settling in rather well together. Blakely arriving in tonight, 7th in the standings, and, of course, that being... I think in this case, that is in fact his third podium this season, which is really a rarity for someone who is obviously so good and a former champion like Lucas Blakely is. Obviously, other names that we got to point out, Otis Lawrence on the precipice. He was so close for getting into the podium places, TK. Just got overtaken right in the dying moments.
It certainly was a shame not to see him up there on the podium, and of course, he'll be looking to make an amazing comeback this week out at Brazil. It's one of those tracks that once you're in your rhythm, you can really find your pace. And I think there's no stopping him tonight if he manages to get in that rhythm.
No, not at all. Just a quick reminder as well of where we've been this season and where we are still to go. We have been through Bahrain, we've been through Britain, Japan, Jeddah, Belgium, Mexico, Austria, Qatar, Vegas, Texas last time out. We're now in the final frontier. 2 rounds left to go. Penultimate round tonight. And now next week we'll be heading to Abu Dhabi to crown off and send off the season, though Jarno Opmeer could become champion as soon as this evening. But it's all to yet be decided, folks. And obviously anything can happen when it comes to Interlagos, when it comes to this particular track that, like we said, is produced many barn burners in the past. Who can forget the big duel between Lewis Hamilton and Max Verstappen, where they would come together at turn 4, both cars going off track in their pursuit to try and garner themselves as many points as they could before heading to Abu Dhabi themselves, where, again, there would be quite a turbulent finale. Hopefully we don't get anything quite of the sorts this time around. Hopefully it's a lot more straightforward. But in the meantime, let's take a look at where we're going tonight. We are going to Sao Paulo in Brazil. 4.309 kilometers. That's 2.677 miles, 15 turns. A track that broke ground back in 1938, opened up on the 12th of May 1940, was celebrating 84 years of Interlagos this year. And a circuit that is so technical, but also carries its own weight in home straights, as well as a back straight that heads down through towards turn 4 that we alluded to. The Senna S's, though, iconic, TK. Plenty of phenomenal maneuver points, plenty of overtaking zones for these drivers to be worried about.
Very much so. I mean, you could not even count on one hand the number of opportunities our drivers have to maybe send a move down the inside. Quite famously, turn 1, after that long DRS straight, again, turn number 4 as well as you head into the tight left-hander. But even as we crest both the hills, turns 8, turns 10, even a cheeky move down into turn 12 is completely possible.
Yeah, certainly is. Obviously, turn 4, obviously an opportunity. We've mentioned that before. Junchao as well is another place where you can, of course, escalate a move heading into Sector 3. And then you have a sequence of bends that then take you around towards turn 15. It's a fantastic circuit to go racing at. And like I said, we've had many phenomenal races in the past. The big question is, can Jarno Opmeer do enough to clinch the crown tonight? And also potentially make it a quarter of a century in wins as well. He's currently on 24 wins in history in PSGL PCF1. Obviously, I'm not included in the PlayStation Championship, but in terms of PCF1 as well, he's accrued 11 pole positions, 9 fastest laps, and 46 podiums. He is obviously one of the guys in form. No one else can really touch him in race wins. The closest driver is Barry Burremand, who is the only other driver on double digits. He's on 14, so there's 10 wins between them, TK.
It's absolutely insane. And I mean, we're going back to an earlier point, but there's a reason that Red Bull have signed him. He is such a consistent driver. If you look at the last 9 rounds of the season, well, the last 10 rounds of the season now, only one of them he hasn't scored points, and he's insanely kind of flatlining. He's so consistent with the races that he manages to pull off. And I think if he gets a good qualifying here today, he will certainly be in for a shot with a podium.
Yeah, you could yet have one indeed. Of course, you've got to give credit as well to Danny Berejne, TK. Of course, former teammate of Jarno Opmeer, twice over, in fact. He was teammates at Sauber, teammates as well at Mercedes, and now Berejne is essentially flying the flag for the team. He's their locker room leader. He's got Jake Benham and Istvan Pukki working with him. I mean, listen, you've got yourself a driver with a wealth of experience, a wealth of pace, and he seems to be coming back into his best form, which is fantastic to see.
Yeah, he certainly does. He's had some fantastic results over the course of the season, very similar to Jarno. Only one result outside of the top 5 if we exclude the races where he either didn't start or was not classified. But I think when we really break it down and look at the fundamentals, that did not start in Japan, and the DNF that he got out in Qatar, I think that's what's really going to hurt his championship chances this time out.
Yeah, definitely could do. We've got a bit of activity out on track now, folks, already. And the timer is now ticking in Q1, so we will be underway very shortly. Freddie Rasmussen exiting the pit lane, getting set to head out on track. We're alive and kicking here in PSGL, here for the penultimate round of the championship. Like I said, 4.309 kilometers. That's 2.677 miles. 15 turns lie in wait for the drivers, and Otis Lawrence also out on track as well. Brendan Lee going out early, as is Tamas Gal. Declan Barrett already. We've got some wheel-to-wheel action between Otis Lawrence and what looks to be an RB. I'm guessing that's Declan Barrett making his way around the track too. But fabulous to see, and I'm sure it'll get busier and busier as time goes on. All of them, though, donning those intermediate tyres, just getting those initial laps in as well, TK, just to get the feelers in. Obviously, make sure that the technology's working at the same time. Ensure that everything's okay.
Very much so. Just making sure they're used to how their equipment's working. Obviously, they're driving the rigs. They drive day in, day out, but you never know. Sometimes those technical gremlins just like to strike at the worst moments. We've seen it time and time again over numerous amounts of races as well. And intermediates, obviously, the tyre of choice for everybody is Declan Barrett. Immediately back into the pit lane after just one sighting lap.
Yeah, Otis Lawrence, though, continuing to head around the track. So we'll run on board with the young Welshman as he now looks to fly down through towards turn 4. Taking this long straight to the Retta Aposta. He'll then lead him through towards Decidia de Lago, coming out of turn 4 in towards turn 5. Again, just hooking up the car as he now makes his way out of turn 5 down towards the Ferragura. This is a semi-straight of sorts that then takes you in towards turn 6 and turn 7, teeing up a run down through Laringina in towards SA Corner, coming in towards turn 8, and then you loop back round at turn 9 for Pinarino. And as you can see, third gear, then straight up the gears, then into 4th and 5th, then into a hard right-hander once more at Bico de Pato at turn 10, and then an in-swinger around the Marullo corner out of turn 11 through Junchao now at the top of the hill, coming out of turn 12, and then you light things up. Stick your foot to the floor once more, coming in towards the Bieber Does boxes, and then through towards turn 14, where they'll then meet the pit lane here on the left-hand side. But Otis is going to persevere and set an initial lap, and that's a 109.301. Not representative because it's on intermediate tyres.
Very much so. Just using it as an opportunity to get that delta for when he eventually does head out on the softer tyre. Tamas Gal with a 109.5, so about 2.5 seconds off what Otis Lawrence has set. And as you said, not representative, just making sure they have that delta ready for the hot laps.
Yeah, that's what's important. Otis Lawrence, though, getting off to a decent start. Here is, though, the Flying Dutchman, Jarno Opmeer. He's back again in a pursuit for yet another title. Here we go, as they now sprint through towards the right-hander, coming out of turn 6, turn 7. Jarno Opmeer representing Red Bull now this time. Obviously, there was a change coming through midway, coming through F124. Of course, we all heard about it initially. Kicking things off at Mercedes, as many people kind of expected him to do so. A lot of people thinking he would stay with them for a very long time. Then the curveball came into play, and now he's partnered up with Freddie Rasmussen. I mean, what a duo, TK. We talk about it time and time again. When we talk about all-star teams, it doesn't really get much bigger than that.
Almost certainly not. They are probably one of the teams with the biggest prowess heading in to this F1 esports season. I would be very, very surprised if anyone is even able to put a piece of paper between these two drivers. They're going to be so close on track, but also so quick at the same time.
Yeah, certainly will. Jarno Opmeer immediately going to the top with a 109.244, but nothing too vast just yet. This is a driver that has already taken wins at Japan this season, and then also at Austria. Only scored one fastest lap this season. That was back at Vegas only 2 rounds ago. But in terms of pole positions, whilst qualifying has never been Jarno's specialty, he did take one this season, and we're going back to Qatar, where he last did. And what a place to get it as well, because it's a bit of a lottery when you head to Qatar, because like we've seen on timeless occasions, it's basically a track that relies you on just being dialed in with your foot planted to the floor, TK.
It very much is. I've heard drivers describe it almost like a roller rink. You just skate round there left and right. There's no undulation in the track to be able to unsettle the car. And as long as you get your braking points right, you're pretty much guaranteed to not really lose out too much. Of course, the DRS will start to cause effects through the straights that we have there, or should I say the singular straight that we have there. But in an overall sense, it's not going to do much difference.
No, not at all. So now Jarno comes into the pits. Very quiet out on track right now. Not a lot of activity at this stage. No surprises, mind, because of course a lot of the drivers just kind of theorising, getting set. Obviously the timer will come down to the final 10 minutes and eventually they will go out on soft tyres. They just don't want to necessarily waste anything at this early stage, because obviously as the track gets better, gets warmer, that is where it's more vital. They're just waiting for it to get into an optimal window so that they can utilise the softs at their very highest level, just to make assurances that they will give themselves the best chance possible to make their way into Q2. But as we all know, every driver thinks that way, and you have to lose 5 at some point in the very opening stage of qualifying. The big question is, who are those 5 going to be? But I must say, I'm looking at some of the former names, TK. A lot of the old heads seem to be performing quite well where it comes down to F124. We look at Brendan Lee, who's had somewhat of a resurgence. He's leading championships elsewhere, and he's given a grand account this time. He's 4th in the championship coming into this round. You know, he's had his fair share of luck. What has gone against him is the fact that he's finished 2nd 3 times this season, yet to claim a first win.
Yeah, it's an unfortunate situation for Brendan Lee to be in. Of course, he's got a number of results where he's been outside of that top 10. I mean, 3 to be precise, and it did not start at Belgium. So maybe the results haven't necessarily gone his way. It seems to be some of the higher speed tracks that he hasn't necessarily paid too much dividends in. I mean, if you look at Kota and Miami with their extremely long straights, it seems to be where he's lacking necessarily an overall pace.
Yeah, no, not at all. Well, the track is getting busier now, and as you can see, the drivers now utilising the soft tyres. So it won't be long before we start seeing some really fast times kicked up across the board. Just to talk about sector times that we have already seen, Jarno Watmir is setting a 17.808 in Sector 1, currently holds purple in that sector, 16.276 in Sector 3. That, of course, being on intermediate tyres, that will soon, I'm sure, be crushed by those that have already those that have headed out onto softs. You'd expect them to obviously, make grand inroads on the slick tyre, and obviously, with that added grip, it's going to really amplify around a track like this, especially when you're in this middle sector, TK, when you've got corners that are heavy under braking, and then at the same time you need to be back on the throttle. Degradation is something to be factored in here as well. We notice it at Barcelona, when you feather that throttle heading through some of the progressive bends. We talk about Lakea, we talk about Banks Sambadell. I was talking to the International GT Open drivers about it in real life motorsport not too long ago, and they said corners like this, people really don't see how much it really takes out of those tyres. And, they are using really high quality Michelin tyres over there. Obviously, we're running Pirellis here in the F1 game. So, naturally, whilst they are different brands, the theory still stands the same.
It certainly does. I think, as you said, track degradation and track evolution as well are going to play a real big part here in this qualifying session. Track temperature at the moment is only 30 degrees, so it's not as high as we see at some of the other tracks that we've been to in the past. They won't necessarily have as much grip as they would have liked.
No, well, heading through turn 4, very busy circuit now, as you can see. Pretty much everybody out of the pit lane has emptied up and headed out onto track, and we're going to watch Freddie Rasmussen now make his way through the double right-handers coming out of turn 6, turn 7, and then through towards turn 8, where he'll then meet SA Corner. Let's see what the Great Dane can offer. Current reigning F1 esports or F1 sim racing champion, and representing Red Bull, but Red Bull, they know what they want. They want to reclaim the team's prize in F1 sim racing that Ferrari managed to claim off them. Unfortunately, Freddie Rasmussen backing out, but one driver that is not backing out is Tom Manley. He's gone purple in the first two sectors. 17.157 with a 33.416. No one has beaten those sectors so far, and Manley immediately goes to the top. And take a look at that golf. 2.7 seconds the difference as Manley heads forward and ahead of Jana Watmere in terms of the Q1 listings right now. We've got plenty of drivers still out there on track, also looking to improve. Barry Burremand being one of them. He's green, as you'd expect in the first two, obviously setting his first lap here on soft tyres. 17.1 in Sector 1, 40.144 in Sector 2. Goes fifth fastest straight away, just in behind Tamas Gal. Not his greatest lap, and as you can see, a lot of time lost there in comparison to those in front. And bear in mind, those were on intermediate tyres, so a very slow first run. Obviously a mistake for Barry.
Yeah, I think it all went wrong in the middle sector. He was about 5 or 6 seconds slower than the rest of the field on the soft tyre, and that's where he's really lost time. However, he's now gone purple sector 1, so he has dialed in and started to go again.
Yeah, Josh Edo, he's stolen the purple second sector. So let's see where the Welshman goes. He goes fourth fastest. Great lap from him. And Barry immediately back on the pace. 17.154 as Lucas Blakely moves up to second fastest ahead of Brendan Lee, who goes into third. So you've got two former F1 sim racing champions in the top three already, registering the 106s here so far. But Barry, who is known for his spirited pace. We have seen Ferrari go on to take teams' crowns in the F1 Sim Racing Championship. It hasn't happened very often for them, but with the likes of Burremand and Longay in their team, it has really turned a corner. But he goes fifth fastest. Not enough. Despite going purple in the first, he was only able to get green in the last two sectors.
Yeah, it was about a tenth off in the second sector, even less than that in the third sector. So maybe just a difference in setup compared to a few of our other drivers. The drivers that are favouring that middle sector seem to be doing really, really well at the moment. They can just throw that car into the corner, and it is holding.
Yeah, certainly is. Nicholas Longay now also making his way around the track, looking good in the first sector as well with a 17.1. Now, to compare those first sectors there, Longay is only actually 300, or should I say 200ths off Tom Manley's first sector split time, and looking even more keen in the middle sector as well. In fact, they're very nearly matching. Only mere hundredths separate them, as Longay now could find himself very close to the back of Manley. In fact, he'll go past him by mere 0.02 of a second. Nicholas Longay, the Frenchman, now in provisional P1 here in Q1, but bear in mind we still have more runs to come. More laps as well coming through as we watch Alvaro Carreton come onwards. Here comes Alfie Butcher back again on top after taking pole, going to victory last time at Texas. Well, he sticks his car back on the top once more. Here comes Carreton. Can he excel? No. In fact, losing out, I think an invalidation, came in somewhere. Thomas Ronha moves into third fastest, 106.492, 1,000th behind Nicholas Longay, and 1,000th behind him is Tom Manley. 1,000th ahead is Nick. That is bizarre. There's 1,000th between P2 to P3, between P3 to P4. Fragments of gaps.
Apologies there. So close between all of our drivers. It was a purple middle sector as well for Thomas Ronha. So as we were saying, maybe just a little bit more downforce on that kick Sauber, maybe just lacking in straight line speed. I'm sure though, as we head or progress through these qualifying sessions, they'll maybe redevelop the car, figure out that issue and go again.
Yeah. Well, Jay Benham making his way around the track. He's on a very slow lap right now, and currently, if he stays where he is, he will be out of the session. So will Freddie Rasmussen as well. But Tom Manley feeling safe. He's already barreled out. But have a look at this, TK. The top eight, all within 70 thousandths, all within 700ths of a second.
Absolutely incredible to split a field this strong like that. You couldn't get a sheet of paper between each driver as they cross the line at the moment.
Not at all. Well, into the pits they come, and once more there is solitude, silence here in the pit lane here at Brazil. Obviously no movements. Jana Watmere has already retired. He's quite happy apparently. P8. Now that's interesting, TK. I wouldn't necessarily say he is, shall we say, clear from threat here at this stage. And bear in mind, there is room to breathe because, Alfie Butcher is very nearly a tenth faster than him in P8. And we know how these guys work where it comes to sector times.
We certainly do indeed. And like you said, I think it's going to be close for the drivers like Otmir, like Blakely, who have just retired, maybe towards the bottom end of that pack. I mean, Butcher almost certainly safe along with Longuet. Wouldn't be surprised if we see Ron Hart retiring in the next few moments as well. Contrary to what chat's saying, we aren't expecting to see any rain either in this Q1 session. So maybe just a little bit of overconfidence, maybe expecting that 10 or 11 drivers aren't going to go quicker than you.
No, not at all. Alvaro Caraton making his way around the track. He'll come into the pits as well. But a big thank you to each and every single one of you for tuning in here this evening. Hope you're all keeping well. Please don't hesitate as well, if you haven't done so yet, please ensure that you subscribe to the YouTube channel here at Premier Sim GL. And check out PSGL as well on social media at Premier Sim GL as well. That's on Twitter and Instagram. And you can also check out the TikTok as well, where they upload some really cool reels. But already now we're seeing some drivers make their way out onto the circuit. Brendan Lee, he's out and about as well. In fact, he's going to be the first driver to cross the line to then set his flying lap. He's sat in 9th place. Obviously not too far behind Jarno Otmir, but there's quite the gulf. Like if you compare where Otmir is in comparison to Blakely, I mean, you're talking a gap of, should we say, 19 thousandths of a second here, TK. But, with Brendan Lee, slightly more of a gulf in difference. I mean, we're talking 53 thousandths.
Yeah, about half a tenth between Brendan Lee and Jarno Otmir at the moment, which on paper doesn't look like a massive gap. But when we're talking about the drivers that we have on our grid this afternoon, that is an absolutely catastrophic difference between some of our drivers, and they will be looking to try and close that up. I think they're going to get maybe one, if not two runs if they mess the first one up. But it is pretty much now or never.
It is now or never. And Brendan Lee's invalidated. Oh my goodness me, that will be an end to what has been an unfortunate run there for Brendan Lee. Now, the big question is, can he stay alive in the session? We've got more movements for the back. Barry Burman, who still holds the purple first sector here in this session. He now breezes on past Lee and now looks to, cement his position here in qualifying as he now flies in towards the right-hander before then venturing in towards turn 11 at Marullo Corner as we watch the Ferrari driver now hurtle through the very tight right-hander. Now let's see where the times are going, because Barry Burman's last time in the first sector was a 17.154. I can tell you that Danny Berejnay has ushered in a 33.403. Now Barry hasn't gone purple again on this particular lap. Berejnay could yet bunny hop him as well. Jake Benham moves up into 9th. Danny Berejnay certainly does bunny hop him, goes second fastest. Here comes now Burman, goes 7th quickest. There's now Joni Tormela also making his way through. He comes through the center S's. He remains 14th. We've got others crossing the line. Josh Edo moves his way across as well, in fact taking a purple second sector split in the process. What about Declan Barrett, who's now making his way down the straight? He's currently 18th quickest and certainly not safe at all, TK.
No, not at all. And these times are coming thick and fast for our drivers. There's still quite a few that have decided for 2 outlaps to get those tyres to the absolute optimal temperature. Are we going to see a repeat of what we saw last week out in Texas, where it was a horrific qualifying for Jarno Otmir?
Well, could yet. Declan Barrett behind Brendan Lee right now, and Declan Barrett is improving, I think, on that on this next run. Brendan Lee has to. He's got no choice. This has to be the lap for the 2-time F1 Sim Racing World Champion as he now hustles up towards the line. He was poorly last time out. I hope he's feeling better because he's going to need it. Only enough for 13th fastest. Brendan Lee on the bubble of elimination, TK. Here comes as well Declan Barrett, who was closely pursuing him. He'll cross the line. Can he lift himself out of obscurity? Yes! Brendan Lee now 2 places away from being relegated from the session. Declan Barrett, I think he might be safe.
I think he certainly will be. It's going to be close between our 2 drivers at the moment. Freddie Rasmussen, I think, is still coming up towards the line to set a valid lap. He's down at P20. Can the Sim Racing World Champion get himself safe? Yes, he can.
Certainly can. Tamas Gal will be looking to come up next, but he's on a slow lap and he is out of qualifying. What about Duncan Hoffland? Big Dunk, who has shone this season. He has been absolutely unbelievable. We've looked at his performances. He was a race winner here in the top tier, but he will not be going through to Q2 because he's bailed out of his lap. So that is our confirmed eliminees from qualifying. And it's a hard night for Alpine already. Josh Edo and Tormela are out. Alvaro Caraton qualifying only 20th fastest. And we also have Josh Ito out, obviously alluding to the Alpine team. Tamas Gal out as well after not being able to fill in that last lap. And Brendan Lee by the skin of his teeth with Duncan Hoffman not making it through. Goodness me, some shockers there, TK.
Wow, incredibly close there. Brendan Lee saved by the skin of his teeth. Of course, drivers not necessarily improving in the final few sectors, but the top 10 split by only 58 thousandths of a second. Incredibly close here.
Incredibly close indeed. Alfie Butcher is your fastest driver here in Q1. He's back on top again. Danny Berejnay in second. Nicholas Longue third. Thomas Ronhart in fourth. Tom Manley fifth. Otis Lawrence in sixth. Barry Burremand in seventh. Ishmael Fassi eighth. Lucas Blakely in ninth. Shanaka Clay 10th. Freddie Rasmussen 11th. Jana Watmere further down then. He is in P12. Declan Barrett 13th. We then have Jake Benham 14th. Brendan Lee in 15th. We lose Hoffland, Ido, Gal, Tormala, and Caraton. They're all out of qualifying. Some major shocks. It has to be said, folks at home. Let us know who the biggest shock was for you guys. I mean, TK, what do you make of it?
Wow, incredibly disappointing to see Duncan Hoffland out in Q1. I mean, driver, he's in P6 of the standings at the moment. You'd expect him maybe to be able to qualify just that little bit better, but who knows? Maybe the track temperature wasn't quite to his ball game. Maybe he just messed up one of the corners, and as the times were so close together, I think that is what is to blame this afternoon.
Yeah, well, listen, it's Alfie Butcher who set, I think it was like an early 106.4, I think, in that last one. So that's got to be I suppose the line that we're looking for through the course of qualifying here tonight. As you can already see, the track already very busy for the start here of Q2. Every man and his dog leaving the pit lane as it stands, and Freddie Rasmussen being one of them. And what a clutch lap from the Great Dane as well, TK. Needed it too.
Quite literally down in P20 at the last chance of asking, and as he came across the line, jumped himself up to P11, just ahead of his other F1 Sim Racing World Champion Jana Watmere. Both of them through to Q3 and will be looking for a strong run this afternoon, but it hasn't necessarily been the season that Freddie Rasmussen would have been looking for.
No, not at all. Rasmussen obviously not having the easiest time of it, certainly in comparison to his teammate who leads this championship. Rasmussen 12th. Coming into tonight, say joint 12th. He's level on points for Nicholas Longue, so he's technically, 13th, 12th, 13th, of course. But I mean, looking back at his results, he's had splashes of brilliance, but at the same time, there was a 17th place finish back at Belgium that was, taken with the fastest lap. He's had 3 pole positions this year, TK. You can't help but turn around and think, well, is he bottling these races?
I think that is a question that will be on a lot of people's minds. Obviously, he started from the front, from 3 out of 10 races. Why is he finishing so far back in the order? And I think you've got to go back, and maybe Red Bull have got to go back and look, see what is happening in these Grand Prix, and maybe try and develop on it, even if we head into the F1 Sim Racing calendar, or even if we head into another season.
Yeah, just a little note. The safety car apparently has made its way back out to the track. Now, we've seen this before this season. I don't know why, but Mylander fancies a trip around this Interlagos circuit. Maybe he's a bit bored. The funny thing is, safety car's turned off in our session, so I don't know what he's doing here anyway. No one booked him. But Alfie Butcher out on track anyway, nonetheless, and is now hurtling down through towards the final few corners here on this track, and looking to light things up once more, and has done. He's gone fastest in the first sector. No one's been able to touch his 17.157, though he hasn't got the fastest second sector split. That goes to Freddie Rasmussen. Across the line goes Alfie Butcher. Fantastic time there from him as well. Also going fastest as well is Ronhart in the middle sector. Alfie Butcher took the purple third sector with a 15.841, and that's what led to the 106.545. Here comes Thomas Ronhart, goes third fastest with his purple second sector split, but could not topple Nicholas Longue, who went second fastest. Butcher on top though, TK.
Yep, so far so good in both opening sessions of this qualifying run, and Thomas Ronhart, I think, got a little bit unlucky there. Final sector wasn't necessarily as quick as he would have liked, but he has beaten out his teammate Brendan Lee, who stands just 1 place behind him. So there's still a lot of time left in this session. These are just the opening runs, but it could be a little foresight into the future. Yeah,
could be. Tom Manley deciding to bail into the pits. Hasn't yet managed to put a fast run together out on track. Has put some sector times on the board, but I think must have had an issue, I think, making his way around the circuit, and therefore has had to come straight back in. But fantastic lap for Alfie Butcher to get things underway, obviously following through from his last session. Definitely looks like one to watch. I mean, we talk about the young talents that are coming through, TK, and Alfie Butcher's one of them, and he really has lit things up already in the brief 2 rounds he's been with us, including this one. I mean, incredible. I mean, going fastest back at Texas, going on to take the victory, and now Butcher back again, and he was fastest in Q1, and right now he's fastest again in Q2.
Yeah, looking absolutely outstanding this season is Alfie Butcher. As you said, pole position last time out in Texas, got the win as well. Nice little conversion to add to his stats. And it's actually, he's got a 100% win rate this time out in season 37 of PSGL.
He certainly does. And also equal on points with Declan Barrett, who has raced more races than him this season, both of them on 17 points coming into this round. So already, just by one race alone, Alfie Butcher's entered his name really into the points spectrum of things, and hasn't he just? Incredible. Now all the drivers making their way back into the garages, as you can see, very quiet again at their own circuit here in Q2. Alfie Butcher with a 106.545, that is 5 thousandths difference between them, and once more we're seeing a huge bunch of drivers all within the same tenth of a second. It goes down to 6th place with Jake Benham registering that 106.638. Fantastic lap on part of Jake Benham, and even though it is a fantastic lap, it's not fantastic enough to be on top, but he's only 3 thousandths away from Lucas Blakely, who sits in front of him. Freddie Rasmussen making his way back out onto the track as well, and if he carries on the way he's going, he's going to feature in Q3, TK.
I think he certainly will. He'll be hoping that it's not a last-ditch attempt like we saw in Q1. I think he'll be hoping for a little bit more safety, and I think that might explain why he's gone out in the first running order of this second run of hot laps. I mean, if he can get out, set a hot lap, and then head back into the pits and hope for a little bit of safety, you've still got the option of going out again, but I don't think he'll be wanting to. No,
not at all. Well, Freddie's going to be the first to register a fast run out of the midway stints here in Q2, because they will be able to go again after this. So it's all about just teeing up that one final dance here in Q2 to give yourself the best chance of going through to Q3. As it stands, Shanaka Clay, Otis Lawrence, Declan Barrett, Danny Berejnay and Tom Manley will all be out of the session should they remain where they are. But we know that a lot can change in the closing stages of a qualifying session indeed. As we now right on board here with Freddie Rasmussen. Great Dane now hustling down through towards turn 4 this time around. Now ventures in towards Decidia de Lago. And once more, foot planted. Now lifting off. So obviously not happy with this lap so far. So he's not going to be putting anything into this one. So already backing out at this point, TK.
Interesting that he backed out so early. I'm assuming there's a mistake there, either through the center S's or down towards turn number 4. Wasn't quite happy the way that something worked out. Maybe just saving the tyres and hoping that he will get that second run in. Track temperature has decreased since we saw it in Q1. It's down by 1 degree centigrade, so down to 29. So the grip will be slightly looser than we had in our opening runs.
Yeah, obviously that will affect the tyre behaviour as well, but Tom Manley seems to be behaving very well out there on track. He's gone purple in the middle sector. So now looking to take down a fellow F1 Esports Challenges champion in Alfie Butcher. Of course, Tom Manley also making a name for himself last campaign, goes fastest here than Alfie Butcher as well. An absolutely clinical lap, very nearly 2/10 quicker. In fact, it was very nearly 1 3/4 quicker. Fantastic from Tom Manley, an instant response, and Butcher has invalidated this initial run. So I think, no, he is on his fast run.
Absolutely incredible lap there from Tom Manley. He's even about a tenth and a bit clear of Brendan Lee. He's up to P2 after his second run. But Tom Manley, Otis Lawrence, even quicker.
Well, that is spectacular. He has gone faster, and Lucas Blakely, he has even bested that. That is extraordinary. Goes faster by 2 thousandths of a second higher than Otis Lawrence. The gap's thinner than a fly's eyelash, and just look at how much separates them. The top 4 within 97 thousandths of a second, and can I just add, purple in the first sector this time, going to Alfie Butcher, but it's been immediately stolen by Barry Burremand. Extraordinary. Heading down now into the next right-hander this time. Let's see what Butcher can put together. Obviously had a little bit of a moment in the last lap. Wasn't able to enlist a lap down onto the table, but this time he could yet add something really special. Maybe even to take down his fellow McLaren teammate. He did it to him last time when they were at Texas. Remember overtaking him on the final lap? Blakely was not happy about it. He said congratulations to his new teammate, but in his eyes, he wanted to be a race winner. But Butcher, the young pretender to the throne, looking to add his name into the echelons of F1 sim racing history. He's going to go higher than his current teammate, and he blasts 60 thousandths between he and Blakely.
Absolutely incredible stuff we're seeing here. Alfie Butcher once again topping our timing screens. Barry Borremond, after going purple in the opening sector, couldn't quite put the lap together. He's only gone fifth fastest. Ishmael Fassi up to P2 as well.
Extraordinary. Thomas Ronhart also managing to, aiming to put some time together, but he's currently sat in P14. He is improving and heading up towards the line. So let's see where he goes. He does jump ahead of Lucas Blakely as well. Now, whilst it wasn't purple at all in his lap, saying that, Nicholas Longe, again, he didn't register a purple sector. It was green in all three, though. He improved, and it was enough improvement to take top spot away from Alfie Butcher. 18 thousandths between those two, TK.
Absolutely insane numbers we are seeing here in this qualifying session. Everybody is so focused on that top spot. I think they're forgetting they've got one more session to go ahead. There's only 5 drivers that will be leaving us at the moment. Brendan Lee down. And at the moment, some of those drivers include Jano Otmir.
Yeah, extraordinary. Truly remarkable. 4 minutes and 50 to go. And at this stage, the drivers that will be going out are Brendan Lee, Jay Benham, Declan Barrett, Shanaka Clay, and Jano Otmir, our championship contender, who is looking to take the crown here tonight with a big result. But bear in mind, we still have one more run left. Jano's last lap was in fact invalidated and came back straight away into the pits. Jake Benham, his former teammate, also out on track and showing signs of brilliance as well once more. The driver we witnessed as well alongside Jano Otmir do great things. Has got all the ability in the world, and I'm sure we'll see him flourish at some point. But it's all about the next 4 minutes and 10. But we've got two two-time F1 sim racing champions in the elimination zone, Brendan Lee and Jano Otmir, TK.
Yeah, hold on to your hearts, ladies and gentlemen, because this qualifying session is far but over. Maybe for 14 of them. Ishmael Fassi deciding they've had enough and deciding their lap is certainly safe for the 106.299. I'd be inclined to agree with them in the opening stage. There's only 3 and a bit minutes left in the session, and they're not expecting about 12 drivers to pip them out.
Yeah. I must say it's going to be very, very tight. I mean, looking at the gaps at the very front, the top 6 once more, this time all within 80 thousandths or 800ths of a second. Just so many drivers packed together within a tenth of a second. At least 80 thousandths. I mean, it's unbelievable. It just goes to show the skills or the level of skill that these drivers, obviously harness and they all excel one after the other. Now, it's interesting to note, Tom Manley, I'm just looking there in P7, only using the one set of tyres so far. Everybody else, bar Ishmael Fassi, who's used 2 sets, everyone else has used 3.
Yeah, really interesting one to try and break down there. So I wonder if it's a double run. No, Tom Manley came out a little bit later in this qualifying session. We saw that. Obviously, everyone else went for their first runs. Tom Manley into the pit lane almost immediately and decided to go for a second set. Obviously, on that used set of tyres. Getting my words confused there. So he has the opportunity and the advantage to use a fresh set and not necessarily be hurt once he makes it, or if he makes it, to Q3.
Yeah. Also big question marks once more as we watch Brendan Lee hurtle around this middle sector and then up through towards sector 3 where he'll meet Jun Chao at the top of the hill. Coming through turn 12 this time around, foot back to the floor once again. That's right on board here with Brendan Lee, who has done a fantastic job this year of providing us with our hot lap VTs that you all get to see on a week-in, week-out basis. Obviously hasn't been very well, like I said before, so hasn't produced any as of late, but we can ride on board with him this time and he can give us a hot lap live here in Q2 as we watch him head down the centre S's coming out of turns 1 and turns 2. He'll then march and stretch coming out of turn 3 through Curva de Sol down the Retta Aposta. Backs out of it though, however. That's not the time to do these things, Brendan Lee. That, of course, will mean that you will have to go again. He did a similar thing in Q1 though, TK.
He certainly did, and it worked out for him in the end. He got the advantage of the heat in towards the tyres, and then, of course, he doesn't have to worry about holding people up in qualifying. He can just reset himself, go again, and with only a couple of places to potentially make, it's looking in the favour of Brendan Lee.
Certainly is. Tom Manley now making his way around the circuit. He, of course, currently sits in 7th place, so this would be enough to go through to the next session. Remember, the bottom 5 all get eliminated from P11, 12, 13, 14 and 15. They will not proceed to Q3, but obviously these are the final runs. These are their last chance saloons to make their way through to the last stages of qualifying, and Tom Manley is improving. He's found time here in these final runs. Also finding time is Danny Berejnay, as we now watch Manley come across the line, goes 5th fastest, not breaking any records with that lap. Can Danny Berejnay break records of his own, though? We know how fast he truly is. Goes 6th fastest, just behind Tom Manley. We also have Jarno Opmeer making his way around the track. He's putting 2 personal bests here in Sector 1 and Sector 2. Not known for his qualifying. Barry Burman steals fastest away from Longay, who both steal it from Alfie Butcher. Jarno in P10. That's not safe at all, TK.
Not at all. He'd have been hoping for a little bit higher. He's got 5 very quick drivers, including the reigning F1 sim racing champion that stands behind him. Freddie Rasmussen has the opportunity to knock his driver away, but I think he's not going to be able to do it. The driver's behind him. Is Brendan Lee going quicker? I don't think he is.
No, he's just outside by 24 thousandths of a second. It is not looking straightforward here for 2-time F1 sim racing champion Brendan Lee. He's grinding it out here in this middle sector, trying to find every ounce of delta he can find. Shanaka Clay is improving, though. He's gone green in the first sector. You can see him in P15 at the moment in the bottom left of your timing tower. He's done a 17.2, which isn't as fast, though, as Brendan Lee on this lap. Can Lee topple Opmeer and relegate him into the elimination zone? Here he comes now. Is he going to do it? No! Brendan Lee will not move through to Q3, but can Shanaka Clay, who is a 10th and a half up, can he do the unthinkable? He can relegate Lee further down into 13th, but Clay is out as well. Jake Benham also making his way around the track. He goes 10th fastest and relegates his former teammate Jarno Opmeer.
Wow, what a statement from Jake Benham. I saw it coming as I was watching him head through the second sector. He was just itching away at his personal best lap time, and at the end, it was just enough to nick it. Jarno cannot do anything in response.
He can't. He's going slowly. This will not be an improving lap for the Flying Dutchman. He'll just now wallow on as Jake Benham eliminated him, but Jake Benham didn't get safety either. He was eliminated as well. Otis Lawrence just hanging on by a thread to moving through into Q3. A truly phenomenal lap placed in by Barry Burman as well. Ferrari in really good form as they make their way into the garage. I mean, what a sensational performance. A 106.240. Longay went fastest initially. The gap between them is 29 thousandths as now Otis Lawrence comes into the pits. Lucas Blakely pulled off a phenomenal lap as well to go ahead of his teammate Alfie Butcher. McLaren looking strong, Ferrari looking strong. It's the tale of 2 constructors, almost mimics, without Red Bull or without even, you know, Mercedes in the equation. I mean, those are 2 of the teams that we're seeing right at the top right now, TK.
We certainly are indeed. It's a tale as old as time when it comes to Formula One. We quite often see that 2-way battle. Sometimes we even see a 3-way battle, although that's becoming increasingly less often that we see, which is rather unfortunate, but a fantastic job from the 2 Ferraris to secure a 1-2 going into the final qualifying.
Yeah, truly unbelievable. What a performance. Obviously here from the Ferrari pairing. It was Longay who went fastest first here in Q2. Burman swept it up after that. It doesn't look like, I don't think we're going to see the classification results as we await the game to load. Obviously doesn't seem keen to show it to us, but a tremendous performance. Ferrari at the top of their game at the moment. Credit to McLaren as well. Obviously Alfie Butcher set the initial fastest time and, you know, going 4th fastest in the end with Lucas Blakely toppling him. Ferrari obviously looked like the team to beat, but so did McLaren. I would say if you look at Butcher's form, fastest in Q1, you know, he's regularly in that hot zone, isn't he, TK?
He certainly is, and if he's managing to do a very, very similar thing here in Q3, I'd put my prediction for him to be on pole again. He's looked incredibly quick, my apologies, over the opening 2 qualifying sessions. I think he's got that potential not only to get pole position, but potentially go back-to-back wins here in PSGL.
Yeah, and this is time for you guys to get involved as well. Let us know who you think is going to take pole position ahead of tonight's what will be Q3. Now that we're going to be bringing you now, the cars are making their way straight back out and getting set to go running again. And already plenty of activity. And out on track, I can already tell you, Thomas Ronhar, one of the first to leave. He's not alone, though, because Longay's gone out. So's Ishmael Fassi. And some latest news coming from the Williams team, TK. Brett Koch announcing his departure from the Williams team.
I had heard that. I've had the opportunity to speak to Brett over the last couple of weeks, and he's very thankful for his time. They're obviously one of the leading, very, very noted man in F1 sim racing, brought some of the highest talent through the ranks. It's very sad to see him leave Williams.
Yeah, it is. Sad news. And you do have to wonder the methodology, the thinking in the mind's eye of Williams. When you think about Brett Koch, he's someone who knows a lot about young drivers. You know, there's plenty of knowledge there. Of course, Brett was head of the obviously the VSR, Visceral Sim Racing, obviously Visceral Esports. I mean, they're a phenomenal team that we came up against when I was at CRG, Comrade Gaming. But we can divulge and get into that a little bit later. In the meantime, we have got qualifying runs now happening here in Q3. Let us know who you think's taking pole position, everybody. I can already tell you we have names popping up in the live chat as we speak. We've got M. Jules saying Danny Berejne pole. We have got Avatar saying Barry. Ron Harpole says Max Schumacher F1. And Ishmael for pole says Meta Kestrel. Get involved and lay your comments down in the chat, everybody. We want to hear from you, and we'll go through them after the first stints have been completed. In this initial, though, Fassi has equalled the first sector split with Barry Burraman, both of them sharing the purple first sector as it stands. Fassi, though, is going to be the first to cross the start-finish line. Let's keep our eyes peeled as he now makes his way up to the top of Jun Chao. He's gone purple again with a 33.354. Let's see if anyone can beat it. 33.373 for Longay. He hasn't gone purple at all. Purple, though, Thomas Ronhar in that middle sector as we now watch as Fassi makes his way up towards the line. That's a 106.389. That's not a bad lap at all to get things started. Longay's come straight into the pits, and Ronhar goes fastest of everybody.
Yep, fairly to be expected there. 106.2 was that top spot in the Q2 session. I was expecting to see very similar lap times here, if not quicker, as we head into the final runs. Thomas Ronhar certainly laying down the gauntlet for all our other drivers.
Yeah, just to say that first sector split that Fassi actually set, the 17.096, matched Barry Burraman's previous qualifying session. Where he managed to lay down the fastest first sector. So that's incredible. We've gone from session to session with the first sector matched in terms of purple. Barry now back out on track as well, so he's going to look to set his first time onto the board here in Q3. 8 minutes and 30 to go as it stands. Ronhar clear of Fassi by over 1/10 of a second, though. There is quite a gulf there, so Fassi will have to go again regardless, and he will do as we creep down into the lower echelons of the session. We have got Nicholas Longay as well in the pits right now. Still not making his way out just yet. No movements from that half of the Ferrari garage, but Barry Burraman is out and looking to put his first time on the board. First lap, though, will come in from Alfie Butcher, who comes through the center S's.
Yeah, don't forget as well, Tom Manley still has that extra set of tyres that he wouldn't have used in Q2. So keep an eye on him, because I think in this opening run, he'll be on the quicker tyre.
Yeah, could yet be. Very nice first sector there for Alfie Butcher. Enough to go 17.103. Tom Manley running very slowly in the first sector. That is not going to be ideal at all. And 18.8 is not where you want to be at all. Just to say... Butcher, fastest of anybody so far that's just come out on these new runs here in the first sector. The closest driver to him right now is Lucas Blakely, his teammate. Oh, Butcher in the wall! Goodness me, Alfie Butcher in the wall. And now that leaves Lucas Blakely, his teammate, to try and usher his name to the top ahead of Thomas Ronhar, and should do based on this lap if he can find something significant in this final sector. He is not quite purple in that second sector split. He's not far off Fassi's first sector time. Let's see where he goes. Enough to jump Fassi, but not enough to match, or should I say better, Thomas Ronhar, because he matches Thomas Ronhar.
Wow, what a lap time from Lucas Blakely to the millisecond, as quick as Thomas Ronhaar. And how often do we see that? Not very often.
No, not at all. Otis Lawrence, though, has taken the purple second sector split with a 33.175 with a 17.251 out of sector 1. So this is a very good lap here from Otis, and he does go fastest as well. Topples Thomas Ronhaar and Lucas Blakely. Is there anything this kid can't do? Registers a 106.255 in what has been a truly phenomenal season for the young Welshman, who this season signed with Aston Martin. Remember, he took pole back at Silverstone in round 2, and since then took a victory at Spa-Francorchamps with 3 podiums amassed this season, with 2 P3s, the first one at Mexico, the second one at Vegas. And I must say, this is a star for the future.
Well, he may not be able to... He may not be old enough to vote yet, but he certainly put his name in the hat for pole position here this afternoon. At the moment, a very, very strong contender with the quickest lap time, I think, that we've seen all qualifying.
Yeah, exceptional. Here comes Butcher. He's found more time in the first sector, so he's bouncing back after the moment that sent him into the barrier as he now heads up towards the line. Goes fastest this time as well. Instant response after crashing into the wall. He comes back with a 106.172 and blasts Otis Lawrence away. 83 thousandths clear, which may not sound like a lot, but in this case, it means everything.
Incredible stuff from Butcher there. Not only to come back from that earlier spin, but to put the fastest lap time on the board as well. That shows such mental maturity for a young driver.
Yeah, fantastic lap there from Butcher. And obviously last time we saw him go fast, this was back in Q1. Nicholas Longuet out on track has managed to register a 17.132 in Sector 1. Now, Longuet still yet to register his first lap on the board. Now meets the ghost of Alfie Butcher in the middle sector. Obviously that won't disrupt his lap, or shouldn't do, as Ronhaar now goes to the top. Fantastic lap from him. And that is 25 thousandths faster than Butcher, so the track is improving all the time here.
Certainly is indeed. As more drivers get their tyre and their rubber ingrained into the asphalt, is going to become more and more grippy through every single twist and turn. I think that's what they're discovering now, what they're realising. And I wonder how much Tom Manley's going to be able to play off with the extra set of tyres that he had heading in.
Well, Nicholas Longuet coming into the pits, not happy with his lap, it would seem, and that will mean that he'll only have one chance to register a lap on the board. So not ideal at all. If your name is Nicholas Longuet, you'll be the one driver not with a banker. And Barry Burrowman, his teammate, 8th place. So while Ferrari were at the top of their game back in Q2, they're not quite at the top of their game here in Q3, but there is still one lap left to do it in. Thomas Ronhaar, though, in a bid to take what would be his second pole position. And of course the first one coming back at Japan in round 3. And managed to clinch his one and only podium last time at Texas. Hard to believe that this man hasn't had a race win yet.
Yeah, he's one of those drivers that you can normally count on for race wins, especially when you look at F1 Sim Racing, how quick he's been over his career so far. I think necessarily hasn't quite come together on this game yet for Thomas Ronhaar, but I have a feeling he will get one before the end of the season.
Yeah, you'd certainly think so, but let us know in the live chat, folks. We want to hear from you all at home. Keep us posted. Who do you think is going to take pole position here this evening? You've got that string of 10 drivers there on the left-hand side of our screen as now the cars make their way back out onto the track. Thomas Ronhaar currently fastest with a 106.147. Alfie Butcher in second place. I can tell you we've already got comments coming through. Miss Riesfeld, thank you so much. We have got Otis Pole, Tropic saying Ronhaar. And I must say, if your money's on Ronhaar, you might be in with a good shot. Dart Trevor says, don't sleep on Goatmere. Pole don't matter to him. You could be right. Strategy is always his forte. So keep your eyes peeled on Jarno and see what he does. Max Schumacher still staying with Ronhaar. We've got Goofy Hunter Iso just joined. Can anyone tell me what happened with Otmir? Well, I can tell you that he went out in Q2. Barry Pole, says Fooley. We have got Balash saying TK for pole. I know, he's definitely pole material, I think, TK. BRT, Adam, thank you for saying Otis, obviously keeping us posted, thinks that the young Welshman's going to do it. Nathan Richards saying Manley. What else have we got here? We got Longuet, says Nicholas Carduck. Blake Ellenwood, George and TK to match times. Why not TK?
Why not? I think we're certainly equally capable when it comes to F1 racing, and I think you're a little bit quicker than I am in most, well, if not all circuits that we visit.
Wow, yeah, you humble me, sir. You humble me. Alfie Butcher now making his way towards turn 1 now. These are the final runs that we will be seeing in qualifying now. Nicholas Longue out on track as well, and obviously on his out lap as I think, well, as they always do generally from time to time, they invalidate their opening runs. Obviously that's not the run that they're going to be setting their lap on, but Alfie Butcher will be looking to set his lap on this particular one, as he now flies down the straight coming out of Decidia de Lago at turn 5 through Ferradura at turn 6. Then heavy on the brakes coming in towards the next right-hander as they breeze through turn 8 through towards turn 9. High deg this particular corner at Pinorino, and then through towards Bico de Pato at turn 10. Back on the throttle once more through towards turn 11, the Marullo corner. As he now flies through, taking all of the curb on the inside through towards Junsao now at turn 12. Now I can tell you that he was purple in the first sector. He was on a personal best in sector 2 in a pursuit to take down Thomas Ronha and register the Butcher. Register that carving knife once more on the top step. Yes, he will go fastest TK with a 106.101. Room 101 that is.
Fantastic lap from Butcher to retake that top spot. Thomas Ronha now has his work cut out for him as he has 30 seconds left in this qualifying session, not only to get to the line, but to get a lap in with one shot and one shot only.
Yeah, Freddie Rasmussen also up towards the line this time as well. Only enough for 9th fastest as it stands. Barry Burremand also registering a time that is just far too slow. Longue coming through the first sector is 17.107 as it stands. So the last lap, whilst it didn't break any records, just teeing up this final run that he must set now because we've got 5 seconds and they're timing it down here in qualifying. His teammate Barry Burrament, no, it's just gone purple in Sector 1. He's just registered a 17.079 onto the board. So that will swat away Alfie Butcher should he manage to try and reciprocate in the next 2 sectors. Longue now flying through the next left-hander. Can he find a little more? It's Tom Manley, though, who goes purple in Sector 2. Nicholas Longue now flying up towards the line. This could send tears to the eyes, I am sure, of Alfie Butcher. Can Longue jump him? No, not quite. Tom Manley might, though. He went purple in Sector 2, not enough in Sector 3. What about Barry Burremand, who is known for pole position visits? Can he do it here in the penultimate round here in PSGL? Here this season? No, only enough for second fastest. Thomas Ronha, he is looking for more. He is chomping at the bit. The Dutchman looking to take down Alfie Butcher. Can he? No! Misses out by 5 thousandths of a second. It's not enough. Alfie Butcher is pole back to back here in PSGL.
Oh, Tom Manley went purple middle sector, but it was Alfie Butcher that was quickest through 1 and 3. An absolutely dominant display in Q1, and he showed it again here in Q3. Top spot for the McLaren driver.
Yeah, truly remarkable. Alfie Butcher back again. Knows the score. He has just managed to usher in his second, dare I say, and back-to-back pole positions for the Butcher. He lays down the carving knife once more here at Interlagos by 5 thousandths of a second. That is a very thin blade indeed, just in front of Thomas Ronha. Barry Burremand in 3rd spot as well, 55 thousandths off the top. Just look at this, 78 thousandths between Lucas Blakely in 6th, up to Alfie Butcher, his teammate. Ishmael Fassi 5th, just behind Tom Manley in 4th. We look further down, Nicholas Longue in 7th place. Otis Lawrence, I don't think he'll be too happy with that lap that he had set. Obviously, he always strives for better, as does Danny Berrichday in 9th. Freddie Rasmussen again in 10th place, but made it through to Q3. So it's Alfie Butcher back on top, everybody. He's getting used to it, isn't he, folks? We'll be right back to digest it all. Stay where you are. Well, we've just witnessed yet another stunning Alfie Butcher result. And TK, I must say, it makes you wonder, makes you beg the question, What if Alfie was with us from the very start?
I think absolutely right. I mean, 1 win from 1, and now could it be 2 wins from 2 for Alfie Butcher?
Incredible. I mean, what a performance. I mean, it's one thing to do it at Texas. I mean, that is essentially Jarno's holy ground, really. I mean, we've seen Jarno Opmeer pull off some incredible performances at Texas. It just did not fly his way that time. Jarno's been on a bit of a downward slump, really, when you factor in podiums. Well, I say that. It's not strictly true, to be fair. I mean, he was second place at Qatar, winner back at Austria. But it hasn't necessarily been a hallmark, should we say, Texas performance, I think, looking back last time. Last 2 races, no podiums. Appreciate, though, I don't think he's necessarily in for risking too much, is Jarno. I think it's all about the championship now. He's got quite a gulf in terms of points between him and his former teammate, Danny Berejnay. I mean, coming into this, there's 28 points between them. So he doesn't have to risk too much, does he?
No, not at all. He knows that the championship is going to he can take it to Abu Dhabi if he really wants to. He doesn't have to risk maybe a dodgy move down the inside, a late send down the outside of one of the corners maybe. And it's a very smart and strategic play from Jarno Opmeer. He's got that gap, so why not use it whilst he has it?
Yeah, no, absolutely. I think it makes perfect sense. But we'll wait and see what they decide to do. Obviously, strategy is going to be of the essence for Jarno Opmeer. But the one thing... The one thing that Interlagos offers is strategical masterclasses, TK. I mean, we've seen it time and time again. I'm sure Jarno, being in this position, he's probably salivating at the prospect of racing around this track.
Very much so, and he knows what he has to do. I'm sure he's been through every single possibility with his team, with his engineers, before we even got close to this Grand Prix this week. I mean, he knows every single position and where the likes of Danny Berejnay, where Tom Manley will have to finish around him to secure the title tonight. He loves this track, and it's a very flowing track, and you can get it wrong and still recover as well.
Yeah, not forgetting as well, folks, it could be a quarter of a century of race wins tonight if Jarno can pull it off. He's on 24 as it stands in the history of PCF1 here in PSGL. So what a time, I think, to obviously notch together your 25th if he can do that. We're just getting set ready to race now, or get set in the lobby anyway. Folks, a lot of the drivers coming in to join. They'll be sorting them out, obviously making sure the grid corresponds with what we saw in qualifying. In terms of shockers, TK, who was your biggest shock?
Oh, good question. I said it at the end of Q1. Duncan Hoffland out in Q1, P6 in the championship, 9 times out of 10. Those things don't correlate.
No, not at all. I mean, in terms of pace, Thomas Ronnar seemingly back to his best?
Would you say best, or would you say getting back to it? I mean, as we head into the bottom end of the season, he's certainly got improvements, and he's maybe found that love of it again. But I think there's still more Thomas Ronnar to come.
Yeah, no, obviously it's going to be a huge one. Obviously tonight, it's all about the championship. Opmeer looking to make it 7 PSGL titles overall, including the one he won in PlayStation, though tonight could also mean 6 PCF1 titles. So that is what's on the line. Remember, the gap is slender. Very slender indeed. 28 points between Jarno Opmeer and Danny Berejnay. One wrong move from Jarno Opmeer, it could get turned upside down. Remember, we got 18 points per round left in the championship, so times that by 2. That is 36 points at stake over the next 2 rounds. Obviously, with the fastest lap, etc., that might have diverted slightly. Obviously Alfie Butcher laying claim to that, so that takes a point away from Danny Berejnay, essentially, at this stage. I must say, whilst obviously they're not necessarily in the championship hunt anymore, TK, we've got to talk about the brilliance of Tom Manley this campaign. Stunning performances once more. Twice a race winner this season. The iconic one at Silverstone, where he managed to strategize himself to the front with taking a stop actually in the rain. Some drivers opted to go the full length from lights to flag on one set of tyres. Manley picking that stop, and therefore had the ability to push relentlessly after Opmeer and Lucas Blakely up at the front.
Yeah, it was a fantastic strategic call, both from himself and the team as well. That's where you really separate the men from the boys in situations like this. He's taken away the potential of a race win. He might have, in his head, even thrown it away in the hopes of getting some good, consistent points. I think if we'd seen the Silverstone Tom Manley throughout the rest of the season, who knows where the sky could have been for him.
Yeah. No, I mean, Qatar, he came back and won that one as well, and seems to have a great working relationship with Declan Barrett as well, which I think is fascinating. But obviously, with Tom Manley being part of the Red Bull family, it doesn't look likely that a Red Bull drive is going to come open anytime soon. Obviously, with them signing Otmir, they've got Rasmussen, their icon. He's been there for years, since the very beginning, back in 2018 when they were when the teams were signing drivers to be part of their sim racing rosters. It definitely looks like the doors are shut for a Red Bull move at this stage. So whilst he might be happy to stay at RB for now, you never know. Pastures new might arrive. You might get a Mercedes looking. You might get a Ferrari looking, for example, even though they've got a very strong lineup in Burremand and Longuet. I mean, if you're another team, do you look at Manley and think, well, that's the talent we could use at our squad?
I think if you're not looking at Tom Manley, especially for some of the other teams, I'm looking at kind of Sauber, potentially, Kicks, and even looking at potentially McLaren as well. If you're not looking at Tom Manley and going, this guy has driven one heck of a season, and even looking at seasons gone by as well, and maybe trying to snap him up for future seasons or future sim racing seasons, that would be a crazy move to me. He's a very good driver.
Yeah, he's exceptional. Another driver who's exceptional as well, Brendan Lee. Obviously, he was in the P2 fray in the lead battle as well with Jarno Opmeer right at the very start. Whilst he is yet to take a race win this campaign, we can't ignore his work in other leagues as well. And back in the same position he was, and I find it crazy saying this, but we're talking at this stage 7 years ago when he was at the top of league racing in like Apex Online Racing, for example, winning Xbox championships and also PC championships as well. Since then, he's become a two-time F1 sim racing champion. We see him back in league racing nowadays, and arguably in recent years, I don't think I've ever seen him perform as well as he has done this campaign.
I think you're absolutely right. He's got, a good number of podiums under his belt, but then you have to look at some of the results that haven't necessarily gone his way as well. He's had quite a few outside of the top 10. I mean, it did not start as well in Belgium for him being away out of the country, but if you look back to days of old Brendan Lee, when, like you said, he was winning races, he's a two-time sim racing champion. He's one of those drivers that is the old guard now when it comes to this domain of drivers.
Yeah, we look back to 2017. I mean, I wax lyrical about it all the time. The very first season of F1 Esports, it was a huge event. Brendan Lee, the first ever to take the crown. Let's take a look at where these drivers will be dancing tonight once more. This is the Interlagos circuit, Sao Paulo, Brazil, 4.309 kilometers, 2.677 miles, 15 corners will line up for the drivers as well. In terms of DRS zones, there are two available, one heading down the home straight through towards turn 1 from turn 14, and then you have the other one which is actually also in the first sector, breaking into the second sector, coming out of turn 3 as you detour out of the center S's, heading down through towards turn 3 at Curva de Sol, down the Rita Raposa, you'll have the rear flap open, and then in towards turn 4 at Decidio de Largo. You can then open up heading in towards sector 2, where you'll meet the technical S-bends of sorts, and then you restart the lap again, coming out of Junshao at turn 12. Any thoughts as far as you're concerned, TK? Anything that these drivers should be concerned about? Who are your predictions? Also, folks, let us know in the live chat. Let us know your predictions. We want to hear from you.
I wouldn't be surprised if you see a lot of moves out of turn 12, maybe a cheeky dive down the inside as well. It's not uncommon to get a great run out of turn number 10 through the left-hander of turn number 11, and then you find yourself pretty much alongside, if not ahead, by the time you're into that braking zone, and the inside line, as we quite famously know, controls that corner on the run up towards the start-finish line. Who knows? We might even see a move there on the final lap.
Yeah, countdown is on, everybody. So let us know in the live chat who you think is going to win this race. Is Jarno going to be champion as well? Let us know in the live chat. We have got Blake Ellenwood saying Dan Field for the win. Well, he was with us last time, so he was a winner then for sure. We got Real Madrid for life saying Jarno as well. We've got Ville Kapanen saying Jarno's going to win the title today, so he's laying it down. Avatar. Danny needs to dub Jarno, no points. And second race again, dub Danny Abu Dhabi, says Avatar. He's hoping that the title will go all the way. Brian Sunny, we never see that. Blake, you're absolutely spot on. It is usually a deluge from time to time. I think that Jarno Opmeer will win the race this evening, says Alessandro Bettini. Thank you so much for taking the time to message. TK overtaking Masterclass, absolutely. Marcel Kiefer, says Max Schumacher. Who knows? Freddie says Alcan 44. Alexis Le Birin Haru. I'm sorry if I butchered your name. You went with Jarno. Pogmir will win, says Mono. Keep your comments coming, folks. We are now going racing here at Interlagos. All 5 lights are indeed lit. And it's pedal to the metal. And it is go, 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 go. Great start for Alfie Butcher, but also a great start away from Thomas Ronhar as they now plough up the inside here. Butcher now leads. Otis Lawrence, or does he? Otis Lawrence dropping down through the order. It's Butcher we should be worried about. Oh, and he's clear. Alfie Butcher clear from Thomas Ronhar. I think we have an error on our live standing. As you can see further back, a huge cluster of cars making their way through. But Alfie Butcher leads the way. Barry Burman up into 3rd place with Nicholas Longay in 4th. Lawrence now battling it out here with Lucas Blakely. He's going to try and man the outside. Remember, Otis leaving McLaren not too long ago, and his ex-teammate trying to take him down a peg or two, but unsuccessful.
So far, Blakely's calls have been answered by Otis Lawrence, but talk about the 3 and 4 for the Ferrari team. They're in an almighty charge, but they've already dropped out of DRS to Thomas Ronhar and Alfie Butcher, who are following each other through like dragonflies in the summer.
They certainly are. Jarno Opmeer also on the attack too. Now, bear in mind, was right in the midst of this midfield fight. Is currently ahead of Declan Barrett as Duncan Hofflin now looks to go to work as well. Remember, he got eliminated in qualifying. He's now looking to tie up here with Brendan Lee, who is looking up his inside. As you can see now, Lee back on his tail as we now see into the pits comes Tom Manley. Oh, and that's a DNF, a retirement, a 10-second time penalty for speeding in the pit lane. Manley out as Duncan Hofflin comes out, still Brendan Lee behind him.
Haven't even made it out of lap 1 and we're down to 19 drivers. That's 1 less for Jarno to have to contend with if he wants this championship wrapped up this afternoon. But Butcher still leads to Ronhar, and the 2 Ferraris are now well on their tail. Yeah,
absolutely right. Alfie Butcher just stood in front of Thomas Ronhar as they now fly through this middle sector and break down heading in towards the next straight. Alfie Butcher looking to make it 2 wins back to back. Could yet harness it, could yet do it. As we now ride on board with Ronhar heading through the middle sector once more. Very soon we'll head down to the double left-handers. That'll then send us up towards Junsao. Coming out to the Murillo corner, coming out of turn 11, up the hill towards turn 12. Ronhar, I think, quite happy to wait in behind. Now look at these strategies as well. Ferrari going a different route compared to everybody else. Of course, Tom Manley did a similar thing, but that was just because he pitted. Incidentally, we've got both Ferraris on medium tyres against all those that are on the hards, and down the inside comes Thomas Ronhar to take the race lead from Alfie Butcher. First blood now from the Dutchman.
Yeah, interesting strategy from the Ferraris. They're wanting that extra wanting the extra speed off the initial stint of this Grand Prix. Expected to be a one-stopper course onto the hards for both of them to see this race out. Hopefully, well, I'm guessing they're assuming the undercut is going to be the one to play.
Freddie Rasmussen with a fantastic move up the inside coming through turn 4 as well. Just tucked it up the inside of Shinaka Clay, who had absolutely no answer for the Great Dane as he now makes his way through this middle sector, chasing after Ismail Fassi, the reigning F1 sim racing champion, who did not necessarily have the most graceful of qualifying sessions, but this is something we come to suspect from Freddie. I think a lot of the time uses the league racing races to sort of experiment and usher in strategies just to give himself something to work with when, of course, they arrive to F1 Sim Racing Central and they start battling it out for the overall title. He's now starting to bridge the gap here between himself and Fassi, as now we see a move from the front once more, and this time a very straightforward swap. Alfie Butcher crosses the line and fastest laps being traded off. Jarno Opmeer up to 12th place as Danny Berejnay also goes on the attack side by side here with Shinaka Clay, and Opmeer, his former teammate, is on his tail. Jarno now pivoting around just in behind the Hungarian's rear wing. Is he going to have a look for a move here on Berejnay? No, but Berejnay looks for a move on Shinaka Clay, and I think he'll do it. Yes, Berejnay up into P10.
Great move there from Danny up to P10 in towards the point-paying positions, but I tell you what, I would not want to be Shinaka Clay at the moment with Jarno Opmeer in your rear-view mirror as we head through the second sector. An almighty sight and a lot of pressure for himself to deal with.
Yeah, we're running on board here with the Flying Dutchman. Could be on the precipice of lifting a 7th PSGL title here tonight. Could be the most winningest PSGL driver in history. Add this to his crown, a momentous day this could be, making it 6 PCF1 crowns as well. And what an occasion it would be for the Flying Dutchman, who's now on the tail of Shinaka Clay, will now swiftly move alongside with the overspeed and the momentum in his favour. The Red Bull driver, as of this season, hurtles on through, one step away from the points, and he's on the tail of Danny Berejnay.
Yeah, I think he thought about a move there into turn 1 as well. You saw the slight hesitation towards the inside line, assuming I think he had the better straight line speed than Danny Berejnay, but didn't go for it this time around. Again, looks towards the inside line for turn number 4, but he's playing the patient game. Good move, Yano. Good move.
Yeah, Ishmael Fassi on the tail of Jake Benham as well. There are fights across this field so far. It's Thomas Ronha, who is currently at the head of the order. Alfie Butcher in second place, just in behind, within 3/10. He was within 3/10. It's just jutted out now. Of course, that can be won and lost very easily, especially around this portion of circuit where if you get your braking wrong, you could certainly fall afoul. And just look at that. Ishmael Fassi had a very quick moment, a very quick look up the inside of Jake Benham. It wasn't successful, but he might find success heading up this long home straight. Of course, it's a straight of sorts. There's only a couple of kinks in the curve as they make their way past the Beaverdoes boxes and through towards the centre S's to begin lap 6 of 36. 30 to go after this one. Still a long way to go as we now watch the front two swap once more. It's Alfie Butcher back in front here of this Brazilian race here in PSGL. Penultimate round of the championship, and the Butcher is back on top.
He certainly is indeed. Thomas Ronha will be chasing down his first victory this season, of course. Hasn't had the best in terms of podiums or wins in the terms of the results. But at the moment, he's certainly on for a good result. Jarno Opmeer, as things stand, will be your champion, though.
He certainly will. Remember, 28 points between Berejnay and Opmeer in the championship. Opmeer, of course, 28 clear, 18 points left should Berejnay not score enough this time. So it almost looks certain that Opmeer can take the crown. There will not be enough points for Berejnay to recapture any sort of momentum on Jarno Opmeer. So as it stands, it's Opmeer in the driving seat. Alfie Butcher, though, on top of the world as it stands right now, looking to become a 2-time back-to-back race winner. Obviously looking to do this, he'll become actually the first driver to go back-to-back this season. We haven't seen that at all through the course of this campaign, I don't think. Duncan Hoffman going close. Obviously managing to clinch it and even managing to finish P4 back at Belgium as we watch them come in towards the centre S's and down through towards the long straight at the Retta Aposta. Butcher now in behind Thomas Ronha as they now come down towards turn 4 once more. The two Ferraris still there. I find it interesting still that they've gone for these medium tyres here, TK, as Shanaka Clay urges past Duncan Hoffman.
Yeah, the question I think they'll be asking is how long are they going to be able to take these tyres compared to the other drivers? They haven't made the impact I think they were potentially hoping to do. They maybe would have expected to be in the top. Yeah,
a bit of contact between Shanaka Clay and Duncan Hoffman. But what are your thoughts on these medium tyres, TK?
At the moment, I don't think they're working as well as the Ferraris would have been liking. I mean, Barry Burman and Nicolas Longuet, two very, very quick drivers, would be expecting to be within the top two, especially now within DRS range. And at the moment, it's not playing out that way.
No, not at all. 6 laps accrued on them. And remember, they'll have to box sooner. Really, they need to make these work in this first stint. And currently, Thomas Ronha and Alfie Butcher are stopping that from happening. As Shanaka Clay, whilst he remains in 13th place for now, Duncan Hoffman is getting closer and closer. I tell you what, another driver that's getting closer is Nicolas Longuet on his teammates. I don't think they're going to pull the plug on that current standing as it remains right now. Shanaka Clay getting all tied up coming out of the centre S's. He's got quite the train in behind. I think Jarno Opmeer would be glad that he managed to jump this slot earlier on. Duncan Hoffman is going to think about making that move, I think, as he now looks to move up the inside, but immediately the door is shut. You can just see him there twisting the wheel as he loses a little bit of grip as he makes his way over the curves. And Brendan Lee, looking to try and make a move himself, has a look up the inside as they then make their way around Laringina through towards SA corner. No move yet for Brendan Lee, but he's trying.
Yeah, just reminding Duncan Hoffman that he is indeed in his mirrors as they progress through lap 8 of 36. I think Brendan will want an opportunistic move, maybe down into turn 12, but we'll wait and see when indeed he does decide to send it.
Yeah, Ishmael Fassi as we rejoin him once more. He's got Freddie Rasmussen on his tail. Fassi hasn't had a bad season either when you look at it. Obviously, took fastest lap back at Qatar and followed that up with a race win at Vegas. And that's his first win this campaign, his first win this season. Finished actually at Bahrain. After Bahrain, it looked like Williams were going to be in dreamland because they had finished in tandem. Alfie Butcher and Thomas Ronha have swapped for the lead continuously since the start of the race. Obviously, that is something that's going to continue to happen. I get the vibe they're doing this to protect the lead from Ferrari.
Yeah, I think they understand that they have to work together to try and protect from the two Scuderia that are chasing them down lap after lap. It might be an unusual teammanship between the two of them, but it's certainly working at the moment.
Well, of course, Alfie Butcher, formerly part of the RHE team, which is the team that Thomas Ronhaar is part of now. And if you know your league racing law, know your esports team law, of course, Alfie Butcher leaving the RHE squad earlier this year, just recently, remember, signing for the Papaya McLaren outfit and partnering now Lucas Blakely, the likes of Wilson Hughes as well, in what I'm sure will be a very formidable lineup for next season's F1 Sim Racing World Championship, as we now watch them come out of Junsao once more. No doubt Ronhaar is going to plunge for this move once more. They're going to swap for the lead. Ufalum. DRS will open up here for Thomas Ronhaar as he now bursts down the straight. Will open up on the outside, coming past the grandstands and through to the lead of the race here on lap 10 of 36. Into the centre S as he goes. He meets the apex, coming through towards turn 2. Great move for Ronhaar.
Beautiful move for Ronhaar indeed. I'm starting to question as well whether the two Ferraris aren't going for a traditional medium hard strategy, but indeed going for a medium soft. They're extending that tyre life by being in this train. Barry had the opportunity to send it down the inside of turn number 1 there, but just backed off a little bit before he reached Alfie Butcher, and I wonder if they're looking for that second stint to be on the soft tyre.
Yeah, who knows? I mean, I do wonder whether some might choose to go long, some might choose to stop a little sooner, maybe draft onto the medium tyres. You never know, maybe we'll see some movements onto the softs. I don't know. This is the beauty of the hard. I mean, it opens up your window of opportunity in the latter stints, and it is a fantastic race tyre as well. And we're seeing this from the front two in the order right now. They're doing a great job of keeping Barry Burroman and Nicholas Longay at bay. There's a 2.5 of a second gap from Bromand and Alfie Butcher as it stands. They now fly through towards turn 1 again. This time, yet another swap. Butcher up the inside of Thomas Ronhaar, protecting that lead advantage as Burroman got very close coming through towards turn 1, but was unable to manufacture any kind of an overtake. And the status quo remains the same. The front two swapping the lead as each lap goes by.
Yeah, wonderful teamwork between the two of them. The two Scuderia as well, working together in tandem. They're defending from Otis Lawrence, Lucas Blakely and the like that's behind them at the moment. And as you said, status quo continues on lap 11 of 36.
Yeah,
about the 1/3 mark.
Yeah, Jarno Watmere also on the attack as well as we head through the middle sector. He's got Declan Barrett just in behind as they now look to loop through this next lap coming out of Pinerino at turn 9. Up the inside from Jarno Watmere, makes a little bit of contact with Danny Berejnay, his former teammate. The Hungarian just with enough in the locker to keep and hold him at bay. Declan Barrett just in behind as well. But Jarno threatening Berejnay here this time as they fly out of Junsao, out of turn 10 through turn 11, 12, 13, 14 and very soon 15 as well. They'll begin lap 13. Ronhaar again swapping for the lead, and this time Burroman on the attack goes late on the brakes. He's fed up of waiting as Josh Ito takes a 10-second time penalty for speeding in the pit lane. Will this be yet another retirement, our second retirement of the race so far? It doesn't look like he has done just yet, but we're watching the drivers come through towards turn 4. There it is. He has retired. So our second retirement, Josh Ito. Obviously something happening through the latter point of that lap as we now watch Ismail Fassi now going toe-to-toe here with Jake Benham. That's a battle over 7th place, but a big moment. Barry obviously getting fed up at P3 right now.
I think Barry's getting fed up in P3. Nicholas is getting fed up at P4 as well, as he was almost side by side with his teammate for a brief moment, potentially trying to hold off Otis Lawrence. Yeah,
so we're right on board here with the Iranian, heading down through this next lap, just getting onto the curbs once more and getting time twisty. Freddie Rasmussen also dueling it out here with Ismail Fassi, who was kept him in behind. Once more, Jarno Watmere threatening Danny Berejnay. For a brief moment, they were, well, side by side. Declan Barrett now closer to Watmere than Watmere is to Berejnay. So clearly something happening there, but there's something happening up the front as now Butcher dives up the inside, heading through towards turn 1, and once more Barry Burroman hunting for that P2 spot, but is unsuccessful. But for how much longer? He's got the overspeed coming out of turn 2. Does he plumb for the move? Not quite. He's going to try something around the outside, coming through towards turn 4. Not this time. It is still Butcher and Ronhaar up at the front. Still Burroman can't find a way through.
Yeah, just backing out of the entry to turn 4 there. Wasn't going to try and move around the outside when Butcher and Ronha were too wide. But second sector, especially into turn 1, I think we will see a move.
Danny Berejné ran very wide coming out of the heavy braking zone through towards the next right, and unfortunately the Hungarian has forfeited to Jarno Watmir. He's going to forfeit to Declan Barrett as well if he's not careful. Barrett with his nose in front coming through towards the Junsao section, but still Berejné persevering somehow, someway, fights his way back up into P11.
Beautiful move from Declan Barrett there, just trying to attack Danny Berejné, Jarno Watmir, back up into the point, and now back on to that title fight. A podium will be ideal for him, but the change in the lead, and Barry Berman wanted to follow through. Oh!
That's Alfie Butcher! Butcher's gone! Butcher's round! That is surely going to bring an end to his win hunt here. Coming, well, what looked to be rear left, making contact with front right of Barry Burman's car as he now sprints down towards turn 4, and that is not what the McLaren driver was looking for. And we saw it coming a few times. Barry getting frustrated in P3. Obviously, I'm sure the stewards room would be having a look at that one, but that was truly outrageous, TK.
It certainly was. I wouldn't be surprised if there are many calls to the stewards at the end of this Grand Prix, specifically regarding that turn 1 move, and it is Alfie Butcher on the unfortunate end of it all.
Yeah, it certainly is, and that is not something he's going to want. It's now brought an end to his win pursuit here at Brazil. Never ideal. It's fallen away by the wayside for now, but up at the front, we're back with Lawrence now, hunting after what looks to be our first pit stop. So here we go. Already now some changes being made. We have got, coming into the pits, Barry Burman and Nicholas Longay. Obviously no fears for the double stack. We are in the multiplayer car. So they've ultimately made a decision to switch as we now watch them come in for new tyres. As already now, it looks like Longay, I think he's managed to jump his teammate already. Now I wonder whether Burman did lose a place anyway after the contact with Butcher.
Yeah, I think that is what happened. It was the contact that managed to drop him further behind. Barry Burman up to P17. But as you said, they played a great team strategy. They're using the multiplayer cars to their advantage and not sharing a pit box.
Yeah, as we now watch them head down in towards the next left now, it's Otis Lawrence who moves up to second place. And Thomas Ronhart, as we now watch him make his way around in front. He's been given a reprieve here of sorts. Obviously, I think he would be a little downtrodden knowing that Alfie Butcher, he was working relatively well with, has now fallen away as we now watch them head through the next left, coming out of Junsao corner. Ronhart, the Dutchman, obviously chasing a first race win this season. He looks good money for it right now. Otis Lawrence, though, is going to look for that P1 spot here to begin lap 16 of 36, and following him through is Lucas Blakely, who's going to look for redemption for his McLaren teammate. Coming out of the centre S's, bursting now out of turn 3, down the straight now through towards turn 4. Blakely back into the top 2 fray, and now looking to take down former McLaren boy Otis Lawrence. Blakely takes the lead for the first time here in PSGL Brazil.
Fantastic stuff. Blakely and Lawrence, both of them chasing victory number 2 in this season, and I wonder if either of them are going to be able to pip it out as we approach half race distance.
Yeah, lap 16 of 36. We have got 20 laps to go as we now watch them fly through that middle sector. Blakely now 2 tenths or so clear, very nearly 3. Thomas Ronhart down in third place as well, 2.5 tenths, nearly becomes 3 as well as they now head uphill and through towards Junsao once again. It's still Blakely on top. Lap 16 of 36, as I said, 20 so to go. Now, it'll be interesting to see how sooner these drivers, jump off these hard tyres, because we've just seen the 2 drivers that occupied the medium rubber, that being Nicholas Longay and Barry Burman, they've now sprung onto the hards. Lucas Blakely now coming together with Otis Lawrence again. This time Lawrence moves up into the lead of the race. Now in all this, Jarno Watmir is up to 7th place now. Of course, should it stay like this, the title is going his way. He will be crowned champion should it remain like this. Here comes Blakely again. A charge here for the lead of the race. Barry Burman registering the fastest lap. Blakely ahead now out of turn 4. Ronhart into 3rd place with Benham down in 4th. And now it looks like the Ferrari is starting to turn on the style on those fresh hard tyres.
Yep, as to be expected, they have got the fresh rubber. They will start to try and catch the pack as much as they possibly can. And they've done 14 laps on the mediums in the opening stint, so wouldn't be surprised if drivers start to head in around lap 21, 22.
Yeah, We're watching them come through the middle sector this time. Lucas Blakely, who made, his own history in a sense. Of course, his first F1 Sim Racing Championship, becoming a PSGL champion as well not too long ago, but also on top of that has since broken into the world of real-life motorsport, taking 4 wins in GB4. I mean, what could have been if he had a budget behind him? He could have become such a raw talent. But as we all know, money is everything in motorsport. Otis Lawrence retaking the lead back. 2 cars now in the pits here, TK. Those are our first drivers off the hards, now making their stops.
Yep, they've gone early. They've gone exactly at half race distance. Shanika Clay and Alvaro Caraton, both of them onto the medium tyres to see this race out, and hopefully they'll be able to last the distance.
I do wonder whether there was some damage just flicked up there. It looked like a little bit of debris was just kind of sprung out of nowhere coming out of turn 4, but we just witnessed it again. I think it's just coming off the curbs, but it looked like we had a little bit of front wing just fly up off one of the cars, but I don't think we did. I think it's okay, so no drivers really suffering at this point. Otis Lawrence still at the head of the field. Duncan Hoffland in P10, or was in P10, because Alfie Butcher's just stolen it away from him.
Yeah, beautiful move from Alfie Butcher, trying to recover from the earlier incident that he had. He's in with the points once again, but he has got an almighty mountain to climb for the rest of the lap for this Grand Prix.
Yeah, well, sprinting down through towards turn 1. Yet another pit stop. Fassi comes in here, TK. Now that's interesting. Obviously making that jump now. Let's see what the score is on tyres. Obviously we've seen several of them jump onto mediums. No doubt it's going to be the same for Fassi. No damage on his front wing. Remember, he was involved in that fracas coming through the middle sector. Now there are the 2 Ferraris. Burman and Longue jumping on through. So the strategy, as far as Ferrari are concerned, is working.
Certainly is indeed. They'll have to take the tyres a little bit longer than the rest of the field, though. I think he'll be wanting to fight Shanika Clay and Alvaro Caraton. Shanika around the outside. I think it would have worked. The undercut for Clay has worked.
Yeah, it looks like it. Shanika Clay holding on. And in 4.5 second proximity between he and the Ferraris, but he's ahead of Fassi and ahead of Caraton. So, I mean, that's 1 lap he's amassed on those medium tyres. But Burman and Longue have definitely put themselves into a very good window here, but naturally they will be on what is generally determined to be slower tyres. But saying that, I mean, the hards have done exceptionally well in the opening stint. Can they do the same in the latter stint, TK, as we now watch? As now into the pits comes Lucas Blakely, and he's not alone. So does his McLaren teammate, Alfie Butcher. So it's Lawrence P1, Ron Hart P2, Benham in P3. And I must say, that's not a bad method of thinking here. Obviously, we're bringing Butcher in the same time as Blakely, as we now see moves here between the top 2. Ron Hart now bursting down the straight, moves into the lead now, coming through towards turn 4. Caraton sets the fastest lap of the race so far. Benham in 3rd place now, with Rasmussen for company. Blakely and Butcher still in the box. Longue now P12. Burman also ahead of those runners further back. So they are your net leaders as it stands.
Yeah, this is where the technical and the pit crews really come into their own. Maybe even the engineers back for their teams. They'll try and gauge how much they can run on these tyres, how much they'll be losing back to the Scuderias down in P12 and 13 at the moment. They're only about 10 seconds off the pack, so they are incredibly close, all things considered.
Yeah, well, flying through now towards Junsao once more. The front runners, Ron Hart, who's led pretty much all the way. I mean, it would be a fantastic way to bounce back. He even said it himself, he'd been in a bit of a blip in terms of his form and performance, but he's going to dive into the pits now. So that's the end of the first stint for Thomas Ron Hart. Let's see if Brendan Lee comes in with him as well. No, Brendan Lee stays out. So the trend of teammates coming in together isn't going to happen at Kick Sauber.
I wonder if we're about to see a split strategy call for the Kick Saubers. Maybe Brendan Lee looking to go a little bit longer, maybe onto the softs at the end.
Yeah, well, Jake Benham now moves into the lead ahead of Otis Lawrence. So still the swapping continues up at the front, but with different drivers each time. Now, here we go. So Ron Hart, remember, boxing now. Burman and Longue have well and truly cleared them. And look at this, Fassi now into net P3, TK.
Amazing stuff from the Williams driver. An almighty position to be in, just pipping out Shanika Clay there.
Yeah, and obviously Ron Hart now stuck behind Alfie Butcher as they now run out of turn 4 through towards turn 5. There's somewhat disconnected as well. Caraton 1.5, 1.6 behind Lucas Blakely. So that's going to make him very vulnerable to Alfie Butcher and also Thomas Ron Hart in behind. So Butcher and Ron Hart, who were leading. Bear in mind, Butcher boxed before Ron Hart. Remember, lost all that time due to the collision that he had with Barry Burremand. He's now back in front of our previous race leader as Benham now comes in. Otis Lawrence leads.
Yep, he does indeed. It's what they would have liked to see. And the two Ferrari boys will be loving all these split strategies amongst the teams. They know they can work together with the DRS effect and try and pull back to that main group once they make their required pit stops as they make themselves up to P9 and 10.
Yeah, truly remarkable. I can't help but feel that this is a masterclass on Ferrari's part, I should say. Absolutely phenomenal effort. Jake Benham in the pits with Tamas Gal as well. Again, two drivers that aren't teammates. Coming into the pits. Obviously, many of them tried to, using this methodology, just trying to avoid a double stack. Thomas Ronhaar and Alfie Butcher ahead of Alvaro Caraton this time, so now they're going to look to try and close the gap between Caraton's teammate Ismail Fassi and Ronhaar himself. There's 1.7 between them. Jarno Watmere now up to P3 on track, but he is yet to pit. Now, I wonder if he's now going to be moving into soft tyre territory here at TK. Are we going to see a few take these hards as long as possible?
I think we certainly will be, especially in this top 6, top 6, 7 that haven't necessarily pitted out quite yet, as we see 3 drivers into the pits: Freddie Rasmussen, Brendan Lee and Yoni Tormula. So that remains 5 that haven't pitted yet, and I think, like you said, it will be soft to the end for probably most of those.
Yeah, I think it has to be. We'll have to wait and see whether they will last the distance if they do choose that. Thomas Ronhaar, though, has gone fastest of anybody, a 108.190. And can I just say, comparing that with Longay and Burremand, on the last lap, Burremand did a 108.993. So that is, incidentally, 8/10 difference. Ronhaar is faster by 8/10 of a second on his medium tyres. So if he keeps on doing that, it won't be long before he's on Longay's tail. It could be in as much as 3 or 4 laps.
Yeah, the question he's going to have to ask, though, is how confident is he breaking away from Alfie Butcher and Alvaro Caraton, trying to catch up to the likes of Blakely Clay and Ismail Fassi, and then even making that jump solo up to the 2 Scuderia Ferraris. Yeah,
well, we're on board here with Duncan Hoffland, who's on the tail end of this train that are now flying up the hill out of Junsao, and we're going to see, no doubt, many more of them box. 3 of them come in again. This time, it's Otis Lawrence, Jarno Watmere, the championship leader, coming into pits. So let's see what the compound is as they now beckon their way in. He's on medium tyres. Jarno Watmere on medium tyres now. No doubt they're going to be as fresh as anything. Thomas Ronhaar setting yet another fastest lap. So starting to find more time. Otis Lawrence coming out on mediums as well. So no soft tyres visible on any of the cars. We've got 12 laps to go. Softs wouldn't go the distance with this amount of time anyway. So I do wonder what Berejnay and Hoffman decide to do. No doubt, I think they'll come in this lap for a set of mediums.
I think they will, just to avoid being undercut from the drivers that just dived in at the end of that lap. This is now about protecting their own race results in terms of not necessarily getting up on the podium, but just making sure they get the most out of it for themselves.
Yeah, Barry Burremand still hunting his teammate's tail, but it's all about Thomas Ronhaar's time. Again, taking a look at those last laps. P11, obviously Jake Benham actually set the fastest lap last time, 108.073, so that's on medium tyres. 2-lap-old mediums against the 108.763. That was the fastest time between Longay and Burremand. So the difference there is around 7/10 of a second again, as now Hoffman and Berejnay do come in to the pits. So your net leaders now, as they cross the timing line, will become your actual race leader. It's Barry Burremand, who is chomping at the bit to take the race lead not too long ago. That led to the collision with Alfie Butcher. Well, he's got the lead now here after the pit stops, but just look at who's on their tail. Ismail Fassi has joined them. Here comes Lucas Blakely up the inside, takes P3 away from Ismail Fassi.
Beautiful move from Blakely there to secure a podium at the moment with a diminishing number of laps. One thing I want to mention quickly, Duncan Hoffland stole the position away from Danny Berejnay at the pit entrance.
Goodness me, we've seen a couple of those already today, and I must say, it's huge. Now, look at this. Danny Berejnay down in 16th place will not be scoring any points down there. Jarno Watmere will be champion should this remain the same. Remember, 18 points is all that's left heading into the final round. After this, if Berejnay doesn't claim a victory with Jarno outside the points, then it's good night Vienna here as far as I'm concerned, as far as the championship goes. 28 points, remember the gap Well, the way it stands, Otmir will be champion. Nicholas Longay moves ahead of Barry Burman again, heading in towards turn 1 this time around. In comes Thomas Ronhar, though, down the inside of Lucas Blakely. Can he find it? No, did not get past Blakely, but he got past Fassi, and Jarno Otmir has just gone fastest in the last lap as well.
He certainly has indeed. It could be a comeback that he doesn't necessarily need to make with Bereshne so far out of the points at the moment, but the battle is well and truly on for the podium positions. Ronhar, Blakely and the two Ferraris pushing through this Grand Prix.
Yeah, can you believe it? It's getting closer, it's getting tighter. Nothing between them as it stands, but all I will say is this: Ferrari have pulled a masterclass. 2 cars at the head of the order, but for how long can they hold this down? They got 10 laps to keep this going, and Lucas Blakely, the ever-experienced driver that started his career in F1 sim racing with Racing Point so many years ago, would have been aligned with Marcel Kiefer back then too, both of whom then went to top teams. Of course, Kiefer went to Red Bull. Blakely opted for McLaren. He became a champion at McLaren as well, alongside Barry Burman, who he's now chasing after right now. But Burman chose Ferrari. Here comes Ronhar up the inside, though, out of nowhere. Opts for a big dive up the inside, coming into the centre S's. Can't make it work. Blakely holds on to third.
Fantastic defending from the McLaren driver, really showing what he's made of, but it's not over for Thomas Ronhar yet. He's got Ismail Fassi to try and deal with. Further behind him, Shannon Clay and Alfie Butcher. Good recovery drives from the both of them as well.
Yeah, it certainly has been. Lap 27 of 36. We're coming within squeaky bum time now here in this penultimate round of the season. Very close to the behind of Lucas Blakely here from Thomas Ronhar as they start to compress up, heading through the middle sector. Obviously, with every heavy braking zone, it brings them all together as they now fly through this next left-hander out of turn 12 and up the hill out of Junsao through towards turn 13. It's Longay, Burman, Blakely, Ronhar. 4 juggernauts fighting over the top prize here at Brazil. Obviously not the championship, but a race win. But for Blakely, I'm sure it would mean a lot after losing out at Texas last time out. They're going to go 3 wide into the centre S's. Blakely with a double overtake. Takes down 2 Ferraris with his papaya McLaren. A fabulous overtake. Move of the race, TK.
Very much so. It's very similar to what we saw out in Bahrain round number 1. It was a late call for himself down the inside. He's going to hold it as well into turn 4. Blakely now turns to defence.
He certainly did. He kept Longay behind. He also kept Burman behind. There was also a fight between Benham and Butcher as well, coming together, coming out of turn 1, 2 and 3 down towards turn 4. It's lighting up here in the dying laps. We got 8 to go, including this one, and Blakely leads the trade on medium tyres. Those hards are going to be grizzling here in the final few laps that we have remaining here, and Ronhar is going to be quick. If we take a look at the deltas over the course of the last lap or so, it's 108.8s and 108.7s for those on the hards. It's 107.7s. Ronhar was a whole second faster than the 2 Ferraris last time out, and now he's hunting down after Burman as they stretch down through towards turn 1 again this time. Ronhar needs to get past to try and challenge Blakely for a race win. He lurches up the inside of Barry Burman and takes a podium place. P3 this time, and it could be P2 if he takes down Longay.
Pressure softer tyres for Ronhar, double dose of DRS down towards turn number 4 for Ronhar. Will he go for it? But he's going to sit in behind. It's a dive down the inside from Ismail Fassi getting past the Scuderia. This is incredible stuff.
Yeah, the strategy's not working for the Scuderia Ferrari. It looked bright, it looked promising at the very start. It looked bright during the pit stop phase. But those that opted to start on the hards and move to the medium tyres have excelled brilliantly. Lucas Blakely now out in front, looking to take home a race win this season for the first time since back at Bahrain on our very first round of this championship. But still, Ronhar has not given up by any means. He's on the tail of Nicholas Longay. He's 2 tenths away from P2. And then it's going to be a fight between 2 phenomenal drivers as they look to take each other down in a battle for top points as they now fly through towards turn 1. Here comes Ronhar yet again. Will he go late on the brakes coming in towards turn 1? No, he's going to renege. And Jarno Otmir is taking on Otis Lawrence. Otmir remains in the points.
Beautiful stuff from Jarno Opmeer up to P10. He's now in the points, well and truly securing this potential championship. He got the assistance from Otis Lawrence, who almost led him by, but he's not done on his charge. He thought about a move on Alvaro Caraton.
He had to look up the inside, didn't he? Just could not quite find the momentum to carry it through to the corner, coming in towards Decidia de Largo. But he decided to renege in this case and opted to stay behind. I'm sure his time will come, though, as this race carries on. We've got 6 laps to go. 2 Dutchmen are on the attack. One is Thomas Ronhaar pursuing P2 and yet a higher podium position here in this field. Jarno looking to take the championship in style and is now currently side by side with Alvaro Caraton. He's already displaced Otis Lawrence. Lawrence going through as well. Caraton loses out twice. He could lose out 3 times because here comes Opmeer's teammate Freddie Rasmussen. Can he take down Caraton? Yes, he can. And Declan Barrett looking to do the same as well. Here comes Otis once more at the inside of Jarno Opmeer, and Jarno loses out twice as well. He's down to P11. What a change in positions, and Ronhaar takes the lead of the race.
Freddie Rasmussen with the overspeed there round the outside of both Lawrence and Opmeer, and as you said, Blakely now down the inside, turn number 4, retakes top spot. Ronhaar alongside with Longuet as they run up the hill once again.
Yeah, Longuet not keen to forego this position, and look at this, Blakely covering off Thomas Ronhaar as they now fly through this next right. Longuet's in trouble, he knows it, he's on weaker tyres, there's nothing else he can do. He's got to be a nuisance against those in front. Fassi and Benham are also manacled together in a battle over P4, and Fassi launches up the inside of young Jake Benham, who is also looking for a big result this season. He hasn't had it easy either, and he's pursuing big points, and now has managed to move his way past the artist Ishmael Fassi. He's put the paintbrush to bed.
He has indeed, and now he tries to challenge Nicholas Longuet with the DRS assistance. Thomas Ronhaar will be looking for the race lead down his turn 1. DRS open, but he's going to be patient through the centre rest. It's a smart move and get the double dose down towards turn number 4. This will be the opportunity for him to retake the lead from Blakely.
Certainly will. Can I just say as well, Alfie Butcher on a recovery mission as well. Yoni Tormler getting a 3-second time penalty as we now watch as Thomas Ronhaar reneges in behind Blakely. Now, Butcher, do you remember? He was involved in that incident with Barry Burraman, but he's ahead of Burraman now. And also on his 12-lap all-medium tyres is starting to chase after Jake Benham. A potential podium is here on the table here for Alfie Butcher, and it looked like it was all lost after that big moment coming out of turn 1 when he strategized his way towards the front and is now hunting down a potential podium place. This is a spirited drive from Alfie Butcher.
We saw it in qualifying. He hit the wall and came back to do the fastest lap. We've seen the same thing in the race. He was involved in contact and he's back to P5 already.
Yeah, certainly is. And look at this from Jake Benham. On the attack this time of Nicholas Longuet. He gets squeezed to the inside. Coming past the pit lane. Here comes as well Thomas Ronhaar. Up the inside of Lucas Blakely. Lead of the race goes to him. The Dutchman now successfully takes P1 away from Lucas Blakely. Side by side now between Jake Benham and Nicholas Longuet. Thomas Gal retires. Benham moves up to 3rd. That's 3 retirements. But Benham moves up onto the podium place. The All-Star is on the attack.
So far, so good for Benham, and he is nose to tail with Lucas Blakely at the moment. He sniffs a second stop on the podium, if not top spot, as we head through this Grand Prix.
Yeah, Jake Benham has not finished on the podium once this season. He's taken 2 fastest laps, but they've been in positions 17 and 10th. You want to know what his highest finish was? P8. He did it twice. He did it at Saudi Arabia, and he also did it later on in the season at Vegas. Well, this could be unprecedented, and he's on younger tyres than anybody in the top 3.
Yeah, 11 laps versus 13 for Blakely and 12 for Ronhaar. That extra lap could be the difference between 3rd and 1st as we head on to lap 34 of 36. 3 laps to go, 10 miles to contend with.
Yeah, certainly is. It's getting really close and personal here at the front as well as Blakely now pursues the lead and takes it away from Thomas Ronhaar. Typical fashion, we have seen the swaps and they're still continuing. Fassi as well going wheel to wheel. Oh no! Alfie Butcher again for the 2nd time this race, and that's wing damage. There's no surviving that. I'm sure that's all she wrote. He had his chance and now he's lost it. Alfie Butcher, he was a phoenix rising before. Well, he has been put out here by Ismail Fassi at the centre S's. Game up for the Butcher.
Yep, that is all she wrote for Rafi Butcher down at P17. No coming back. Duncan Hoffland having a good battle with Danny Berezne. Their title hopes ever diminishing as they head through this Grand Prix. Surely nothing they can do to recover it, as Hoffland gets a 3-second penalty to their name as well. But Danny Berezne, P13, will not be what he would have wanted.
No, Jarno Opmeer back in the points as well after Alfie Butcher lost out as well. So that will further Opmeer's title claim. He will surely become champion. Danny Berezne down in 13th place, will not be scoring any points as now we watch Blakely. Now we're going to go 3 wide heading in towards turn 1 again, and Benham at the inside there of Lucas Blakely with Thomas Ronhaar taking the lead as now we watch them come out of the centre S's and out through towards the long straight to Rita Aposta, out to Curva de Sol. Here comes Jake Benham now for the first time, trying to battle it out for the race lead this time, opting to remain behind Thomas Ronhaar and Jarno Opmeer around the outside here. Shanaka Clay clear of the inside. Opmeer still remains in 9th, but looking for 8th place, and he's committing to the inside. The Flying Dutchman at the inside once again, and he's up to 8th this time, and his teammate Freddie Rasmussen turns up to join him.
Well, Red Bull really cooking up with gas here. Jarno with a champion's mentality, almost 7 times to his name, up to P8, not letting this championship fight go down without a fight. And it is Freddie Rasmussen that tried to follow him through as well.
Yeah, truly remarkable. Utterly remarkable. An incredible statement made by the Flying Dutchman. It truly has been an astonishing performance this season. Back to his best. But then again, when hasn't he been at his best? We got 3 wide again for the lead of the race, and Ronhaar has taken it again. Blakely reneging, loses out twice. Benham now up into 2nd, now still trying to chase after Thomas Ronhaar, who now leads the race, heading on to the final lap.
This is surely their final opportunity to send one down the inside. Benham thought about it for a moment. That's a send from Nicholas Longuet down the inside of Lucas Blakely. Runs Blakely off the track. The Scotsman will not be happy with that as the Scuderia gets through.
Yeah, that's Longuet moving ahead of Lucas Blakely. Remember, Longuet's teammate Barry Burman was teammates with Blakely not too long ago. Where is Longuet coming from? Where's he finding this? Those hard tyres should be dead and buried. With those on the mediums, obviously, with still, plenty of grip under your belt, you would have fathomed. Now Jake Benham has an extraordinary chance of challenging for the race lead. He needs to get it done now, though, but Thomas Ronhaar making his way out of Junsao corner. He makes his way out to the final echelons of this Interlagos circuit and looks set to be a race winner for the first time this season. He's come close before. Well, he's taken it this time. It's Thomas Ronhaar, your winner of the Brazilian Grand Prix here at PSGL. And in what incredible fashion, Jarno Opmeer has managed to claim his 7th PSGL title and his 6th PCF1 title, a journey that started back in season 27. He took 5 wins that season and since then has gone on to claim championship after championship. Well, he's just notched together his 7th here tonight, including a PlayStation title as well here at PSGL. Jarno Opmeer is your champion.
Almighty scenes that we've seen here. 2 race wins this season and just securing it in fashion at Brazil with an almighty race that we've just seen. Not necessarily gone the way of some of the other championship hopefuls, but for Jarno Opmeer, 7 world championships to his name. Utterly outstanding.
Well, what a season he's had. He went to Suzuka to take his first win this campaign, but prior to that it was P2 at Silverstone. He didn't have the easiest of runs at Bahrain, but he fought to P5. Since then, moving to 2nd in Belgium. After that, he took his 2nd race win at Austria at Red Bull Ring, at now his home track with the Red Bull team. And he's champion this time. But his fellow countryman Thomas Ronhaar wins the Brazilian Grand Prix. Jake Benham in 2nd, Nicholas Longuet in 3rd, Lucas Blakely 4th, Ismail Fassi in 5th, Otis Lawrence in 6th, Barry Burman 7th, Jarno Opmeer in 8th, and champion Freddie Rasmussen 9th, Declan Barrett in 10th, Clay, Lee, Berejne, Caraton, Hoffland, Tormala, Butcher we lost, as well as Tamas Gal, others further down as well. But what an incredible performance, folks. A truly extraordinary journey it has been for Jarno Opmeer. Started back in season 27, became champion for the first time, and we've got this little piece to celebrate.
the final corner. Jarno crosses the line, and he is your PSGL F1 champion.
Well deserved. Very well deserved.
This is absolutely out of this world. I cannot believe what we're seeing right now.
It is Jarno here, champion of the PSGL PC season. He's done it.
Jarno around the final corner. He is won.
He is your champion of the world.
He stamps his approval and he takes P2.
He always finds the answer. He's found the answer again. He is champion once again.
Jarno Opmeer has been spun here at Yas Marina.
If it stays this way, he is still the
The
champion.
GOAT is indeed back. Jarno has been stellar with 5 wins in his last 6. One of the most sensational performances through the course of a season. The Flying Dutchman has done it. History has been made yet again.
Well, he's done it again, TK. A champion once more, 7 times in PSGL history and 6 in PCF1 alone. I mean, I've been commentating on Jarno for a number of years now. Obviously, ever since 2019, when, of course, he was competing in prior leagues. We then arrived at PSGL together. And since then, what a journey for the Flying Dutchman. And adding 2 F1 Sim Racing World titles to his belt, he's joint with Brendan Lee in that. But there's only one man who bows superior here in this league. It is Jarno Opmeer, TK.
Yeah, it's been an absolutely extraordinary career so far. As you said, 7 PSGL titles, 2 F1 Sim Racing titles as well. And this man is a generational talent in F1 Sim Racing.
You won't see anyone like it again. He is unique as they come. He's never, often replicated, never duplicated. I think it has to be said. He is a truly tenacious figure, an icon of our sport. And like I said before, ever since season 27, when he laid claim to his first PCF1 title, following suit from that PlayStation title that he did take, it has just been success after success. It has come with its pitfalls, but he's always bounced back, and great champions do, TK. And that is the story of his championship this season. By no means it looked like he was going to dominate, given the fact that he won his first race after coming second at Britain. But prior to that, 5th place. After that, it was 5th place again. Hardly a podium around at this stage.
Yeah, it was 5 podiums over the last 11 races here in this season. It's not necessarily been all, well, champagne and butterflies, shall we say, for Jarno Opmeer in this season, but it's been consistency, and that's what's really been his champion strength over the last few seasons.
Certainly has. Well, I'm pleased to say, first and foremost, I'm not sure whether Jarno's going to join us at all. Maybe he will, I'm not quite sure, but we've got Thomas Ronha, your winner here tonight at Brazil. Thomas, what a fantastic performance. It was a battle on many fronts. Obviously, we had the strategic fight, we had the pace fight, but at the same time, there was strategy in terms of swapping for positions, trying to keep, I suppose, the Ferraris at bay in the first stint.
Yeah, first of all, thank you, George. It was very chaotic, that race, yet again. There was a lot of things going on with, the Ferraris opting to go for the alternative strategy. I was a bit scared that they were going to eventually pull away with the 5 that may or could have happened. Turned out it was actually really fun and good to work together with, I think it was Otis and Lucas, when the Ferraris pitted. So the gap when we came out the pits wasn't as big as I thought it would be, which was a huge relief. Otherwise, if they're up front alone, and obviously teammates, it's going to be very hard to catch if one of us battles. But starting for P2, with Alfie working together in the first phase, then eventually there was an incident with Alfie, which was very unfortunate. Alfie had definitely pace to win today for sure. I'm sure he'll bounce back. I saw it was another incident, which is very unfortunate. Luckily, it's not esports. It's just I say it's just league racing, but if it's an esport, then they would be a lot more upset. But in the end, managed to somehow get the win without playing the reverse chicken. The low wing came in clutch right in the end. So very happy.
Yeah, I mean, it was a fantastic result. We were speaking not long ago, weren't we, Thomas? So, in fact, it was last round after you claimed P2. We were asking when that elusive win was going to come, because wins haven't come easy this season. You've had your struggles, but this is, only back-to-back podiums. Your first podium was last round, so you're coming into form at the back end of the championship.
Yeah, like I said last week, I started to find, my fast stealth again, the me from 2023 in Event 3 in esports. I was kind of searching in the first phase of the game where my pace went. It was thereabout sometimes, but I wasn't as confident as I am now. Now I can finally fight for every pole and every win in every race, which is what I want. So yeah, we'll see how happens in the next few races. I think Jarno is champion, if I'm correct, right?
I was gonna say to you, yeah, obviously your fellow countrymen. I mean, you're strong rivals. We've seen many great rivalries between you two in the past. Have you got any comments for us on Jarno Opmir's championship win?
Yeah, no, he deserves it completely. He's been very consistent this season. One of the few guys that I think score points in every single round, apart from when he doesn't turn up, which obviously doesn't count as a points loss.
Though he did finish 13th at Texas. So
did he?
Yep.
Oh yeah, but he was last. So if you go for pre-20 to win the points in Texas, especially on this game, then you've done a very, very good race, I can tell you. But yeah, he was the most consistent driver. Same with Freddie last season, he was the most consistent. Just shows consistency is key this game.
Yeah, no, phenomenal. I mean, it's been a tremendous season, and I tell you what, Thomas, it's great having you with us as well, back in the commentary box, back here at PSGL as well. We wish you all the very best, and obviously we still have one round to go, Abu Dhabi.
Yeah. Thank you, George. And I just see TK and Nicole. Good to see you again. Just saw you this weekend, of course, at Sim Expo. But yeah, cheers, guys, and I'll hopefully speak to you soon.
I'm sure we will. Thank you very much. Thomas Ronhar, everybody. I mean, TK, staunch professional, is he not? I mean, you know him quite well. You met him in Sim Racing Expo, for example, which just came off the back of Dortmund. Obviously, Danny Guisa running that event, and it's more popular than ever now, obviously. I mean, I unfortunately couldn't go because I was in Monza during that time, so I wasn't able to visit. But, you know, it's a haven for sim racing. And, you know, I mean, Thomas Ronhar is someone who has been through it all. He has had his trials, tribulations, difficulties. It hasn't been easy for Thomas Ronhar. No one would envy Thomas Ronhar's position a year or two ago when the world was against him by all intents and purposes. And you know, to see him fight against adversity, TK, and come back like this and still swing for the fences and get a P1, you know, at the very, you know, when he needs it the most, is huge.
Absolutely, and you know, you could say he's been through the washing machine. He's been under the microscope throughout the last 12 to 15 months, and to come back with such professionalism, the mentality to still be a race winner as well is absolutely incredible. But also looking ahead to the future, what a time to come back into form with the prospect of esports looming very closely on the horizon.
Yeah, no, absolutely, and it's a great time for Ronhar to come back. This is exactly the time where he needs to find his best form, because obviously, like you so rightly say, F1 sim racing is going to be coming up very, very soon. All the drivers competing in PSGL are using this platform as a way to get their strategies ironed out, ensure that they're doing everything right on the build-up, because of course you can't miss a step. Everyone is fighting for the same thing. They all want to be champion. I mean, I would say it's clear that Jarno's in a position you'd fathom where he could have a great chance this year.
I think he certainly could. He's looked very strong in this season, and you know, he's got those couple of race wins under his belt, but the consistency that he's shown over the course of the season has been unmatched by anybody else.
Yeah, and also historically, TK, we talk about numbers. I mean, he could be the most winningest F1 sim racing champion, become a 3-time champion. No one else has done that. Like no one has done what he has done in PSGL. He is the 7 times PSGL champion. He's the 6 times PCF1 champion. I mean, he's writing his own records.
He certainly is. And as I said earlier, he's a generational talent, and quite literally writing the book on how far you can go in esports. If there is a record, he wants to break it, and that is such a mentality to have.
Yeah, it certainly is. And folks, do you know who else are general talents? You guys are generational talents as well. We couldn't be without you in this case. And let's take you through what's left. Obviously, where we've been, where we're going, and we've got the final round coming up, Abu Dhabi, haven't we? Round 12. will be coming up next as we close the book on Brazil here this season, season 37 in PC F1. Bahrain, Britain, Japan, Jeddah, Belgium, Mexico, Austria, Qatar, Vegas, Texas, now Brazil, all written off from this season. Now we have the final dance next week for round 12 at Abu Dhabi with the championship already decided, folks. And if you've enjoyed the show, saying that, we've got the Flying Dutchman himself with us for an interview. Now, we haven't heard from him in a little while, but he's here now. Jarno Opmeer, champion once again in PSGL, and for a 7th time, my friend.
Yeah, thank you. Wasn't a great race, unfortunately. Wasn't sure if you guys wanted me in here because I finished P8.
No. We want to hear you're champion. You're champion.
yeah, true. But it was a typical championship race, I guess. Last 2 races were bad, unfortunately. But know that the potential there. So yeah, I hope I can consistently get up there in qualifying. So I don't have to fight my way to the field.
Yeah, well,
like usual.
Well, yeah. I mean, I'll be honest. There were a few quaking of nerves. I think, obviously, as far as the viewers were, when you lost out in Q2. I mean, it wasn't an easy qualifying session, but you're not known for qualifying, are you? I mean, for you, it's all about strategy. And at Brazil, you can flex that strategic muscle, can't you?
Yeah, exactly. It's not. Sometimes it's really easy to overtake, sometimes it's not. I think it depends a little bit on the game, on the strategy, how the race develops. Today wasn't easy to overtake, for sure. But yeah, still made a few positions, made a few mistakes, which ended costing me a few positions. I think otherwise it would have been a good shot at the podium or maybe even the win. But yeah, just a few small mistakes, just a P8, unfortunately.
Yeah, well, we were hoping today, along with the championship, you'd also make it 25 wins, because that would be a quarter of a century of PSGL PCF1 wins in the whole championship's history. Obviously, without the PlayStation title, that of course you did win. But in terms of your wins this season, you have won at Japan, you've won at Austria. Obviously, there could be others to come as well. Obviously, we've still got Abu Dhabi coming up for the final round. Just give us your thoughts on how this season has gone as a whole.
I think qualifying has been better than on other games. Of course, last week was terrible and this week was not great either. But overall, it's been more consistent apart from those 2 races. Kind of course, already felt it coming, the championship a little bit with 3 or 4 races to go, or like 2 races ago. It's just a case of outscoring my championship rivals, which I think I did most of the time. Because it's always risky, those starts, trying to keep your nose clean, especially when the pressure is on, of course. That helped, I think. So just keeping my nose clean, and other than that, it's been a really consistent season as well with results. So yeah, it's been good.
Yeah, it's huge. And obviously what has been huge, and I haven't had the chance to speak to you about this properly yet, is your move to Red Bull. Obviously it's a big move. It was very left field. Everyone thought you were going to Alpine, first and foremost, after you were driving the car for a while. Just talk about that as such, because like I said, moving from Mercedes to Red Bull, for some might be seen as a controversial move, but on another level, it's a stroke of brilliance. Part of what could be described as an all-star team with Freddie Rasmussen.
Yeah, of course, me and Freddie have been rivals for forever, I feel like, ever since I was in F1 Esports. And we finally partnered up. We've always had good rivalries, fair rivalries, I think so, which doesn't happen often. So the respect is there, of course. But yeah, at the same time, there's a lot of other teams that are looking really strong. McLaren, of course, with Alfie Lucas, but Ferrari won the F1 Esports title last year. So it's not going to be easy, especially because every year the game is changing a lot. If you're good on iRacing or on rFactor 2, then that doesn't mean you're going to be good on F1 24. It's hard to adjust yourself every year. But I think so far we've been doing quite well. Some races we've kind of lacked a little bit, but some races where we were really, really fast. So yeah, we're gonna have to wait and see what happens for F1 Esports. or even when it starts. So yeah.
It's all a mystery for all of us when it starts, it has to be honest. But, we want to talk about Ferrari as well, because obviously they took the team's championship away. We know that Red Bull love the team's crown. It's something that they've harboured for many seasons. Clearly signing you, as well as having Rasmussen, you both together, is a clear indicator that they're chasing that team dream again. Trying to take down a Ferrari team that seems very tightly aligned. We know how Longuet and Burroman get on really well. They seem to work exceptionally well together out on track. Today, they tried something very unorthodox in terms of starting on the medium tyres as opposed to the hards. You're going to find these, left field approaches from Ferrari more and more this season. Are you concerned about that?
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I think the strategy worked quite well for them. But yeah, it's a bit of a, how do you say, a habit from everyone to start on the hards these days. I think it's really strong on F1 24. So if you do try it, then obviously it might work out really, really well or really, really bad. So it's tough to say what's going to work on what track. I mean, no one had done medium soft last year on Brazil, for example, until I did it in F1 Esports, and it worked really well. But yeah, I think that's going to be off the table because the softs are terrible on almost every track on this game. So you're kind of a little bit stuck with the strategies now compared to F1 23.
Yeah, not as open as it used to be. So now, finally, you've just claimed, like I said, your 7th PSGL title now. Are you going to be back next season looking for your 8th?
Yeah, of course, depends on F1 Esports a little bit. Because, I think PSGL doesn't have any plans on the next F1 season. Because, no one knows anything. So
no.
Yeah, I'm planning to be back, of course, yeah.
When we do come back, obviously, we look forward to seeing you back, Jarno. But a tremendous championship win. 6 times in PCF1, 7 times overall. Jarno Opmeer, you're a champion again.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Jarno Opmeer, everybody. Thank you so much for joining us. The Flying Dutchman back on top, TK. And he speaks so well, does he not, in terms of, whilst the championship win is great in PSGL, he's always thinking about what's next. A lot of, thinking around Ferrari. Clearly a lot of concern about the Ferrari team at the moment.
I think you'd be surprised if he wasn't concerned about the Ferrari team. They've looked very, very strong in recent weeks. I mean, even over the course of this season as well. They're an excellent partnership. And it's worth mentioning, of course, the engineers that stand behind them. They've got some of the best in the business. So I think when it comes to that team unit, that team kind of bond, so to say, they are very, very strong contenders when we get that esports season going.
Yeah, certainly is, folks, and we all look forward to seeing where it does turn, obviously. But from all of us here at PSGL, what a phenomenal championship fight. We appreciate you being along with us for the ride as well. TK and I have had a blast here this evening at the Brazilian circuit of Interlagos. We hope you all did too. If you enjoyed it, though, why not let us know on social media? Head over to Twitter at PremierSimGL or even Instagram. You can also find us, same tag again, at PremierSimGL, and also TikTok. There will be reels posted, I am sure. And also, if you haven't done so already, leave a subscribe and a like as well to this stream, and also to the PSGL channel in itself. And if you've enjoyed the commentary, why not check me and TK out? Check us out over at Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, at George Morgan TV. That's where you can find me, folks, as you can see from the tag below. TK, where can they find you, sir?
At everything at They Call Me TK.
Well, there you go. That's where you can find him. TK. He's a good clip man as well. I've learned that from Creator Series. But yeah, brilliant. But yeah, it's been fabulous. TK, thank you very much. As always, I look forward to joining you once again for Abu Dhabi. And to you guys at home as well, thank you all for your commitment and support to PSGL as always. Please make sure you stay tuned to PSGL going forward. After a huge season, mass amount of winners came through out of the campaign. We've still got one to go. But Jarno Opmeer is a 7-time champion in PSGL, 6 times in PCF1. He's done it once more. The most winningest PSGL driver in history. Can he win again, though, at Abu Dhabi? We'll see you soon, folks. Goodbye.